Hello everybody, welcome to today's SMZ3 tournament match. I will be joined shortly, looks like, by Hitaka. I'm just going to introduce the runners really quick. We've got a quarterfinals matchup again with Azder versus Dragondarch. And here's Hitaka, looks like you just showed up. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this race. How about you?
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to this as well. I know I've seen a lot of Azder's matches. I'm looking really forward to seeing what he does here. A little bit less familiar with Dragondarch, but he's done a fantastic job, and I've caught a couple of his matches this tournament. He's done extremely well to make it to this point, of course.
Yeah, he didn't do much racing or anything of SMZ3 before this tournament, but he's had a really good showing.
Yeah, I know he's one of those runners that he competes in a lot of games and just all around just a extremely talented gamer of just a bunch of different things. And of course, I'd like to introduce Sayre UX on the tracking as well. Big shout outs to him for helping keep us honest. I'm sure I'll make some mistakes that he's gonna have to point out. Somebody might pick up something that we miss, but thanks for doing all that hard work. All right, so do you know anything before we get into the meat and potatoes of this run, Hitaka, about anything unusual that one or the other runner might do, particularly early on, or do you expect we'll see a lot of similarities?
They're probably going to do most of the standard opening plays. Like they're both going straight into Link to the Past. None of the blue Brin plays. That's typically not something you see in normal because only one item's in logic down there.
Right, and we do see that first check, Lake Hylia Island ends up being nothing, and it does look like a little bit of divergence. As you're going to Link's house, going to Uncle, probably going to check the tree pull as well, whereas Dragondarch starts at Sanctuary, and looks like setting up for the Hula Hand to make sure he's got enough rupees for Kakariko. Both really solid plays, depending on what we get from the tree pulls. That might end up being better, might end up being worse.
Bombs at tier 3 tree pulls, so I'm personally a fan of the Hula Hand play, but it kind of depends if it works out or not. Depends on what the tree pulls are and what like the early CAC items are.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and the guards have bombs in their prize pack as well. We might actually see Azure do a really early front of escape. Boomerang makes that even easier to stun the guards, but it looks like he is going to forego that for now.
Yeah, 5 bombs is the absolute minimum you need to fully do front of escape.
Yeah, and of course he might get really poor luck with the drops from the guards that he does kill, so that does make sense not to risk it. Sink that time if you end up not being able to make it all the way to Zelda Cell in the first place.
It looks like Dragondarch is going to just immediately buy bombs from this shop.
Yeah, that's a little interesting. Buying the bombs here looks like he's going to be delaying the Kakariko plays a little bit.
Yeah, looks like he is heading towards Sahasrara. And that is an Ether Medallion in Lost Woods Thieves Hideout.
Okay, that's possibly required, possibly useful. Nice to have. And on the map check, it looks like we did have a pendant. Was that green pendant, Tower of Hera, I believe? And then crystals at Eastern and Desert. So Dragondarch may opt to just grab these Sahasrara items before going to Kakariko. That would not be surprising at all, since it's a crystal. Oh, and there's our Morph Ball already. Well, definitely a little early to turn into Super Metroid. We'll probably wait and see if we get any power bombs. Obviously, power bombs limit so many of the things you can do there. Just one pack's not really great to have either, since it's so slow getting around.
Yeah, there is one pack sitting in the Lost Woods. So we'll see if they find any more.
Oh, gotcha. I missed that one. Not a lot in blind side. Looks like Dragondarch is going to go ahead and scout out this lumberjack item. Not required there. Doesn't mean Ag is completely off the table, but unlikely that we'll see that. Yeah, it looked like just Morph Ball at Sahasrarla. I didn't notice anything important in the other chests.
No, I didn't either. And there's a shovel and a second medallion and a Spazer Bee.
Okay, well, Spazer's nice. Shovel's not really bad because you're going to be coming out of Kakariko Village anyway. You could just kind of jog over there, check the shovel spot, kind of on your way to like the dam and South Shore checks. So that's a pretty good efficiency to have that there.
Azder did not have enough money for Bottle Merchant, but Dragondarch does, so we'll get that check from him.
Yeah, that could be an interesting one. Of course, Azder does have the opportunity to farm up from the back of Blind's Hut to get that last little bit he needs to get that item. But he might just opt to skip it and try to come back later when he has Dark World access, or even like a bottle to turn in, some other reason to come here. Looks like that's what he's doing. I think it's a good play. So not a lot of progression here in Kakariko so far. Another super pack that Azder's going to skip. That'd be nice to have, but not worth the time to go all the way around there to pick it up.
Yeah, they've already gotten supers, so depending how things turn out in Super Metroid, he might end up missing those a bit if like, Ridley winds up being done early or something, but it probably won't be a big deal. Oh, and there's Moon Pearl already.
Wow, okay, so we've got both the orbs.
Yep.
Moon Pearl and the Morph Ball.
No deep orbs today.
And it looks like Azder continuing to follow the item dense checks. That's so far what he's been doing. The next most dense area is this South Shore, followed pretty closely by the Sahasrarla Eastern plays.
And I did not see what was at Bottle of Ender, but Sarah says it was just missiles.
Yeah, nothing required there. So that's good news for Azder that he's not going to be hurting like if it was a sword or even like boots or something that would help mobility in particular that he would need, or that would really help him with these South Shore checks. Flippers would be a painful one to have there, but yeah, just missiles, so that's good news for him. And I kind of like this blind check of the race game by Dragondarch, since like basically nothing of value was found really in Kakariko. He's just gonna go ahead and spend the bomb, assuming even if it's ammo, it's probably worth picking up.
Yeah, I like doing this play too, because with in combo random with all the SM items, there's more things that you would want to pick up. Pretty much all ammo types except missiles are valuable to some degree.
Yeah, well, in this early, sometimes missiles are even helpful if you've only got one or two packs. But
nothing major in Mini Moldorm Cave.
No, not really. We might have to. These runners might be forced into that early SM play with only the one power bomb pack.
Yeah, and if they wind up doing that, I think probably expect them to go down Red Tower, because with just one power bomb pack. It's not a problem doing all the checks there, although you do end up isolating X-ray.
Yeah, that's a good point. Azure being a little bit careful with these crabs. They do 2 full hearts of damage, so he could take 1 hit, but still gets pretty dangerous pretty quickly if you do get hit by them.
Yeah, they are fast. Sometimes they surround you. After all, they are experts in pincer attacks.
Alright, so Azure picking up some bombs here. Looks like he's going to be on his way after this to Sahasrahla, since it's pretty much on the way. Nice having that bomb capacity upgrade, so it doesn't waste any money on that 10th bomb. He's able to get up to 11. So far, this is a really limiting seed. This might be one of the emptiest openings I've seen from a seed in quite a while. They just have nothing to work with.
Yeah, just other than Morph and Pearl, no really useful progression items. 2 medallions, but those aren't useful, required for quite a long time into the game, usually. And space, of course.
Sure. Well, and they can't even use the medallions yet, because they don't have a sword, so
Nope.
until they get a sword, it's not even convenient. Alright, so Azure running out of the dense locations. I like this play to take the reset now. Some runners may opt to go into Eastern Palace, since it's kind of right there. But since it is a crystal, both runners did do that map check. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, if Eastern's a pendant, it's more likely that you'll go into that, especially if it's a non-green pendant. So do you think either runner will turn space on?
That's a good question. I know I personally would.
Yeah, me too. I like having the wider beam.
Yeah, the wider hitbox is nice, and there's some enemies that, take 2 shots with the pea shooter and 1 with the spacer beam, so it can end up helping save time in very small margins.
And that was a power gloved bomb Torizo.
Okay, so that's 2/3 in our Dark World.
Yep. The first actual Link to the Past progression that you can do something with.
Yeah, by itself, it just unlocks Zora is the only thing.
And Back of Escape is without land.
Right, good call. Back of Escape is available as well.
In fact, you could make the argument here for just going immediately back into Zelda to do Back of Escape. But it looks like he's not going to do that. He is going to go down towards Brinstar with just 1 power bomb pack.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Dragondarch is fake flippering.
Yeah,
He does not have enough money for Zora, but he can use his Moon Pearl to do a water walk here for these items.
Yeah, without the Pearl, I doubt we would see this play. Looks like there's the silver arrows up there at the back of Gauntlet, so
yep.
We might get to see those picked up. It might end up being worth the time sink to pick them up just to speed up Ganon and some of the other bosses, but definitely not important at the moment, so definitely not a priority for Azure to go back and get those, even though he very well could.
Yeah, it depends what the sword situation is, and also if they check front of Gauntlet, if they feel like going all the way through to get silvers or not.
Yeah, I misspoke too. He's one power bomb pack shy of being able to pick those up, so he can't get them now even if he wanted to.
Yeah. Just more supers on Hobo. Ooh, there's the mirror.
Okay, and that is definitely out of logic as well. So normal logic doesn't expect you to do really any of these tricks. We're going to see quite a few probably here in Brinstar. The Mock Ball is a pretty easy one for most runners, one of the first ones you learn, but it is out of logic, so that Charge Beam and the Mirror are both out of logic right now.
Yeah, and with Mirror behind Speed Booster, that means Speed Booster is almost certainly going to show up sooner or later.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot that it locks, including the possibility of Crystal Dungeon. We don't know if Swamp is a crystal or not, but if it is, it's absolutely required. There's a very rare chance that Mirror is not required for a seed. But
Yeah, if
unlikely.
Swamp's a pendant.
Yeah, Swamp has to be a pendant. You have to have a book to get in Desert instead of being able to mirror. All the other mirror locked locations have to end up being not progression.
And so with that Fire Rod, so far, Brinstar's pretty loaded.
Yeah, definitely. Even if you come in here feeling a little bit bad about doing with 5 power bombs, finding this kind of progression, you're going to feel good about it and think, okay, I definitely made the right play. Meanwhile, we're going to see Dragondarch do the front of escape. Since he didn't do the uncle check right away, he's going to be able to pair this nicely with the front of escape. Now that he has a bunch of bombs, he'll have no difficulty getting through here. And then depending on if he finds anything of value in here, I assume we'll see him save and reset into Super Metroid as well. Well, there's the ice rod in the front of Hyrule Castle.
Dragondarch not opening the chest before bombing the blue guard and finding a weapon.
Well, the ice rod doesn't kill the blue guards anyway; it just stuns them.
I think it kills the blue guards and freezes the green guards.
Oh, does it? I know
it's weird like that.
I'm pretty sure the red ones it stuns as well, but that you might be right.
And I've been waiting for someone to boomerang something to so we can see the stun prize. It's a small magic. Meanwhile,
Okay.
Azder is going straight to Red Tower because he doesn't have any more PBs.
Or yeah, he's going to Red Tower and then down to the crate area, which makes a lot of sense. It's a boss we're going to be able to kill. Yeah, he actually doesn't have enough power bombs to get in and out of Spazer there. He would need 2.
So
Heads up play not to go in there and get stuck. I didn't think of that till he ran past it.
Yeah, that's definitely something you have to keep track of with a low PB count. There's some places where you can go in for a check and just get trapped.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he didn't pop into the X-ray location and farm just really quick. There's always the potential of him getting really bad drops from Kraid here, and not getting the power bombs he needs to check the Kraid area missiles and be able to get out as well. He needs at least 2 here.
If all else fails, he could farm the bugs for a PB drop, but that could take several minutes, depending on how mean they want to be.
Right.
Meanwhile, it looks like Dragondarch is going to go down Red Tower, which is a good play with such a low PB count. He's going to have to go through Brinlip eventually, we know, but he's hoping to find more PBs first.
Yeah, even if he just finds one more pack, it's going to speed that up quite a bit, even if he doesn't get any other movement items. Okay, and Azder did get 2 from the drops, which is perfect. That's exactly what he needed. Kind of the minimum he was looking for. Ooh, and there's Space Jump. Speaking of movement items, that's a nice one to have. So there's our can fly.
There's Ice Beam at Crate tank.
That's an interesting one. We might see... Do you think there's a chance that Azure takes that Ice Beam back up Red Tower after doing the high jump boots checks here? That's certainly an option. Because so far, Azure doesn't really have a lot of good places to go, really. Ooh, screw with that.
I feel like without being able to do X-ray, it would be faster to reset to the ship and go down from the top. Speaking of X-ray,
like taking the portal to save progress and then doing the reset. That makes a lot of sense.
Speaking of X-ray, with that space jump, Dragondarch is able to check it.
Yeah, he's got to be a little careful of his health. These spikes do... How much damage do they do? I always forget the numbers.
60. Well, there's 60. Gravity suit at Croc escape.
Okay. So... Yeah, Azure's probably going to go ahead and do the hell runs to get to that as soon as possible. Doesn't have a good way to get up there from the Crocomire escape.
No, not yet. With just Ice Beam, you have to wait for the Silver to walk all the way around the room, and you don't really have enough energy to do that with just 5 E-tanks. But if he finds the space jump, that'll give him an easier way to do it. Well, there's Grapple Beam.
The Grappling Beam, that lets him get that as well. This room is pretty annoying to get in and out of. He's doing a great job not falling through those crumble blocks.
Yeah, sometimes I actually find it easier to wall jump off the sides of the crumble blocks.
Hey, that makes a lot of sense to me.
And here's the spacer check. Just missiles. And yeah, now with that grapple also putting X-ray in logic, Azure might go up Red Tower. We'll see what he does. There's the flippers. Either way, he's going to go into Death Mountain to get the old man checkpoint, at least.
It's a very nice mock ball out. Doesn't even wait to freeze both of those trippers. Just uses the one to get enough speed to make it under the closing gate. Very well done. Yeah, it's unfortunate that we haven't seen a weapon yet, a sword or hammer in particular, to be able to do Tower of Hera, since Azure's right here. I don't know what he was checking his menu for, possibly to see if he had a hammer, or just making sure he didn't miss anything. But that might be on his mind with the mirror in hand here. Very unlikely we'll see the front checked without being able to complete the dungeon, though.
Yeah, especially since it is a pendant.
Meanwhile, it looks like Dragondarch also having a little trouble with Kraid, so neither runner getting the quick kill today. Both get it done without too much trouble.
Ooh, and there's mitts on. So that's our Dark World access.
Yep, it sure is.
Although-
That opens up quite a lot.
It's not actually in logic yet because we still need Speed Booster to put that mirror in logic.
True. You're definitely going to want to pick it up anyway. That's a good thing to keep in mind. That we might have a lot come up out of logic. Looks like we already do have quite a few things. We've got the mitts out of logic, the mirror, the grappling beam on Asher's side, the flippers. All of that's out of logic right now. Hopefully it gets better before it gets worse.
Looks like he's going to do at least the first couple checks in Hera. It's pretty quick to just bop in and do the first floor because, especially if you already are going to mirror up to Spectral Rock anyway.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. That might be a factor in making this decision. Well, 2 keys up front.
Looks like he's going to climb it.
And yeah, no weapons. He's got to do this beetle room twice effectively. When you fall back down, it respawns the pots, so you can use those again to kill the 3rd beetle.
Hard hat beetles, annoyingly fireproof. They're actually immune to a lot of things. You can't kill them with arrows either.
Yeah, silver arrows work, but not the regular ones. And I don't think the boomerangs work on them, but the hookshot does stun them if we had the hookshot.
Well, if we had the hookshot, then we'd probably be seeing a Hera pot anyway, so...
Right. Yeah.
Looks like he's not going to risk the bomb jump with no sword, no boots, and 1.5 hearts. I don't blame him.
Yeah, not at all. It looks like he's going to the boss, perhaps forgetting that he has no weapon?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is an oversight.
I think he just remembered.
I don't know if that was autopilot. It might be... I'd be curious to hear what he has to say maybe after the race, but it might just be that he came up this room and he never comes up this room unless he's going to Moldorm. So, like, Azur's probably so used to not falling through that hole in the floor that it just isn't natural for him to do.
Yeah, muscle memory will do that to you. Was that 0 items out of Hera?
It was. So we have an item on the basement, an item on Moldorm, and the green pendant on Moldorm, which is pretty terrible for having gone in there this early.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we see Dragondarch following just behind the old man rescue. It would appear on his screen, even though we can't quite see much of it. And Dragondarch, unfortunately, does not have... Oh, there's a death. That's not too bad, but he does have to go back to the middle of that cave where he picked up the old man and come back out.
Yep. Meanwhile, back of Escape has the powder.
Powder's a nice safety. It's really, in a lot of ways, it's one of the best safeties you have. Is any dungeon you take a lot of damage in, you can just heal back up. At least in the later dungeons, the really tough ones have anti-fairies or bunny beams kind of built in strategically. So that might be one of the best safeties you can get. But yeah, Dragondarch's not going to be able to grab those mitts since he doesn't have the mirror yet. He hasn't been to the Brinstar area. He went straight down Red Tower, didn't do the green Brin checks. And for him, that'd be his gloves even, because he hasn't been to Bomb Chorizo yet to get his glove.
Looks like Asher's going to check front of Escape. He's getting the wall jumps up to the entrance very nicely.
Yeah, that was nicely done. It's not in logic to do those delayed wall jumps, and Screw Attack does mean he's able to go through, though. Chooses not to go through to get the silver arrows, though.
With Screw Attack, he would be able to go all the way now, but I guess he's just never going to get those silvers. He definitely doesn't need them.
Yeah, I'm surprised a little bit that he checked that out of logic right now, because I do understand the reset and not picking up the silvers. I think with his skill level, He doesn't need them for sure, and he might not even save that much time with them, depending on when he gets bow and what bosses he has to fight with bow and silver arrows. But in his position, I wouldn't have been surprised if he waited on the front of the gauntlet check, just because that might end up being valuable. For example, if bow is very early.
And there's our first bottle of the game. So it looks like he's taking that grapple all the way to Fantoon, even though the grapple is also not touching his fine Varia.
Yeah, this might be an example of one of those things that if you know what you skipped, you might be able to just assume you skipped one part of the progression chain and just continue to move past it as if you never needed it in the first place. Because there's definitely the possibility that that Varia suit is not hard required for either of these runners. I'm confident that Azder doesn't need it with enough other safety items.
Yeah, he did skip over the E-Tank at Moat, but I assume that he's going to grab it on the way back if he is intending to consider suitless Norfair. He probably skipped it with the intent that it'll be a free refill, because if you come on a wrecked ship like with no suits, usually your health's down a bit from fighting Fantoon and doing bowling and whatnot.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. He could, if for some reason his health is too low, he also has that grapple to get through the bowling room without taking the damage, but yeah, you're right, it's faster to damage down, so he's probably going to do that and then just be low on energy. And so Dragondarch doing this in logic with the space jump. He's going to be following suit doing the same wreck ship checks.
Yeah.
I like this play for him. That makes a lot of sense. Still low on those power bombs, trying to put off as much of Brinstar as he can.
Yeah, Speed Booster could definitely be over here to put the mirror logic, and then the mids. It could also still be in Retro Brin. We haven't seen either runner check any of that yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be just sitting right there on Morph Pedestal. That was such a quick fight from Fantoon that I kind of missed it.
That was very well done. At this point in the tournament, I've just gotten used to being impressed by everyone's Fantoon fights, especially since mine is so poor.
And there's Varia.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice for the logic and piecing everything together for Azder, especially since he has those flippers that he knows are now back in logic, and the grappling beam as well.
And yeah, that puts, with Ice Beam and Grapple and Varia, that puts the gravity suit in logic for him as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I believe Dragondarch checked that as well. Didn't do the hell runs, but I believe he saw that gravity suit on the Croc escape, so he should be able to pick that up without too much trouble whenever it's convenient for him.
Oh yeah, Grapple's behind Speed Booster too. But
oh right, so that's not enough.
I expect he'll probably go down Red Tower on the way to Norfair and find Space Jump, which will put all that in logic anyway. Once you have Space Jump, Grapple literally does nothing except Shack Tool.
Oh, that's a... I guess Azder does have Charge Beam already. If he didn't, I would have expected him to pick up those super missiles. They're a bit slow, but even still, this early, it's surprising to skip them.
Yeah, he's an expert at doing low percent boss fights. He's done some pretty ridiculous low percent ROM hack runs. So Charge Ice Spazer is more than enough for him to get by with, even if he doesn't find any more beams. It looks like he's going to bail on Bowling Alley.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting call, and it is a very slow collection of checks. However, it's early enough in the seed that some people would argue that it's a little too early to be skipping things or making these kinds of gambles. It's kind of a toss up though, because he does have a lot available. Basically, all of Upper Norfair.
Yeah, but the thing I find interesting is he found Varia in the bottom of Wrecked Ship. So I feel like if he was going to bail, then he wouldn't have even gone up to Attic. But I might have to ask him about that later.
Yeah, it's hard to say. There might be something that happened that maybe we didn't notice or didn't consider that makes him feel behind. I know that's occasionally something that dictates runners' decisions. I mean, the runners both have checked a few different things, but really neither one of them is behind at this point. They've done most of the same checks with a few variations. Azder has a couple more items that are progressive, but Dragondarch has information on 2 of those items.
Yeah, the main difference right now is that Azder has done Bryn Loop, Pink and Green Bryn, and Dragondarch has not.
Right. Well, Dragondarch did do Front of Escape, and Azder did not.
And yeah, Azder getting Space Jump, and he's going to check X right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got Phaser as well, I believe, that he can check. We saw both of these were nothing, I do believe. I know Missiles was one of them.
I think they were both missiles.
Were they both missiles? Okay.
They were both garbage.
Yeah, I saw Dragondarch turn around from this X-ray one, but I didn't see what it was. I knew it wasn't
bombs. Just a heart container, a Wrecked Ship, E-tank.
You know, I wonder if the did Azder check? He did not check the Sky Missiles.
No, he had no quick way to get up there.
Yeah, that
he would have had to ride the platform guys.
Yeah, with Space Jump, that's going to be much faster for Dragondarch. Although I'm surprised Dragondarch is farming these power bombs. He should have plenty for what he needs here. And even if he runs out here in Wreck Ship, he'll have the ship right there, or heading down Red Tower, be able to pick up some more. Because he really only needs, what? Is it 3 or 4 to finish up these Wreck Ship plays?
Well, if he's going to do bowling, he needs...
It should just be 3, unless I'm missing something. Because 1 to get over, like, 2 bowling from, like, next to that bug farm, and then 1 in and 1 out, like, underneath the statue after the bowling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, he would need forks. He'd want to scout the Wreck Ship Reserve. That's the thing I'm forgetting. Without a 4th one, he would just have to abandon that. And there's our speed booster. Okay.
So, all logic is restored now, I believe.
Yep, everything but the save and quit point on Death Mountain. No lamp, but that's not really.
Yeah, no lamp, but yeah. These varmints don't need lamp.
Definitely not. Not once you have a fire rod. Alright, so blue mail up there, that's going to be handy, and that's certainly going to speed up Dragondarch in a few places, but again, as you mentioned, I'm definitely more familiar with watching azder on the Link to the Past side. I know he's done quite a bit of low percent in that game as well, doesn't really need the blue mail there either.
And there we finally have our second power bomb pack.
Thank goodness. We can almost Crystal Flash. Yeah, just to remind everybody, the items that were speed locked were the mirror was at the Brinstar Reserve location. Charge Beam was at early supers, so those are both just behind speed, not wave locked. And then the flippers and the grappling beam were both behind speed booster as well here in Norfair.
I think azder's gonna get the gravity suit. He skipped speed and wave beam areas. I think he's gonna get gravity and then do lower Norfair and get those on the way out.
Yeah, that's a really good play. I like that. Especially, I mean, considering he's got all these E-tanks, he's got not enough supers to make Ridley very quick necessarily, but he's got a solid amount, a good start, and charge and ice, like you mentioned, charge ice phaser to do a decent amount to finish up the fight. So he shouldn't have any trouble really with much of the lower Norfair, even as far as like losing time goes.
And there's the hammer behind Croc and Meyer. Always bet on Croc.
Okay, yeah, so Croc is stacked so far. We've got a hammer, we've got that gravity suit, and if you consider your way in or out of Croc, like Dragondarch might actually go in from the speed lock side.
Also, Dragondarch found a mushroom hidden behind bowling alleys, so we'll have to wait and see if that turns out to be important or not.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a while till we see it, but definitely could be important. Otherwise, no real progression. It didn't look like that azder skipped out on in Wreck Ship. Oh, and that's a good call. Dragondarch being very careful of the moat. He was out of power bombs, didn't want to fall down there and get stuck. He would have no way to get out.
Yes, that's one of the less common soft blocks. It's one you don't really think about.
It happened just this past week in one of these tournament races, and it's very unfortunate. Might be one of those things even sometimes where it gets in your head, you know, you're trying to be careful and you jump differently than you normally do. You enter the room differently because you're thinking too hard about it and just doesn't work out. Oh, okay, I see what's happening. Dragondarch did turn on his phaser and accidentally shot one of the blocks out and wanted to be careful, make sure he falls right in the center.
Yep.
It resets the room, get those silver arrows. It's going to help him out too.
Nice use of screw attack to farm the bugs without having to turn off Ice Beam.
Yeah, I kind of expected to see that Ice Beam go off and the Spazer go on once we had both of them, but apparently not. I imagine with that farm there, it is the LN play we're going to be seeing. I'm not sure what else azder would be farming for, if not to have those super missiles for lower Norfair. Well, I mean, there is quite a lot we could do in Dark World now with Mitts and Hammer. All of Thieves Town is available. Village of Outcasts. You know, there's quite a few dense locations there that we could see at some point. The checks are a little bit less quick than Super Metroid checks in general.
Yeah, having an actual weapon helps out a lot. Looks like he's going to go for some Meridia checks, though, first.
Okay, maybe those supers were for Batwoon, then. I guess we might be seeing this full clear Meridia, or at least through to Dragon, and then possibly kind of Divergence.
Meanwhile, a Dragondarch has finally bit the bullet and is doing his 5 PB Brim Loop and has gotten his mirror, and is about to get Fire Rod.
Yeah, he's gonna have a little bit of an awkward decision because he's already been like, down to Kraid's area. I guess he could just continue down Red Tower again into into Upper Norfair. It's a little less efficient than it was for Azder, since Azder had Spazer and X-Ray not done yet, and Dragondarch has already done those. Do you think that's what we'll see from Dragondarch? The return to Upper Norfair in those checks?
Probably. The area puts a lot of things in logic. It's where Norfair's really item dense, especially around Bubble Mountain. There's the flute.
Okay.
So that gives him a quicker access to Lower Norfair now. He doesn't have to go back down.
Yeah, definitely. And it takes a lot of the concerns about that Lower Norfair play off the table. Going there early, especially without things like Kane, or a way really into Misery Mire, means you might have to make that same lava dive again later on. But with Flu, you can pop in there. You could scout out the Gold Chorizo checks and then reset if you wanted to, and come back later for the other ones, or vice versa.
And there's our first sword, finally.
There it is.
And lamb. The first two items you get in vanilla, right next to each other in Meridia.
Dragondarch having a little trouble setting up.
There, he got it.
And right when I say it, he gets it. Nice job. The high jump boots, so it's not quite as easy as if he did have those high jump boots. Alright, so we're not getting to see Batwoon just yet. With the grapple, we might see Shack Tool.
We might, but based on the skips Azder's been doing, I kind of doubt it at this point.
Yeah, and if he was going to do it, it would probably have been right there after that right sand pit.
He's been avoiding slower checks.
Yeah, that's a good point. And he did already find some progression here in Meridia, so it's not like Meridia came up empty, and he's just continuing to bail on it. He's found some good stuff here. So even if he chooses to not do Shack Tool, then he's still got something worth the Meridia trip. So makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Meanwhile, Dragondarch did go back to that Fireflea's room in Green Brinstar to top off his power bombs. No, I guess I missed it. Oh, I didn't see that he didn't do the Spore Spawn check yet. And I guess he didn't have the one needed, or two needed to get down to Waterway to farm there. It's a bit unfortunate. A little time lost for that backtrack.
But he already did Wave Gate. I guess you can save a power bomb by having the yellow door open when you also blast these blocks open. I'm not sure if he didn't have enough for that or didn't do that or what.
He might have. I missed it, but he might have laid his power bomb such that it opened the Mission Impossible location and that orange door at the same time. Because you can place it up there and opens those two, and then you still have the spore spawn when you'll need an additional power bomb for.
Oh, yeah, maybe he did that. I missed that.
That's what I'm guessing. Either that or he did potentially do what you said. He might have just not taken advantage of that spore spawn location being open, but I think it's more likely they just ran out.
Looks like he is getting for Retrobin. He won't be able to do Billy Mays, but he can do the rest of it. Hey,
Well,
look, more power bombs on more pedestal.
Alright, so he will be able to do Billy Mays.
I guess the seed proved me wrong. Also, that's kind of an "oh, those were there all along" moment.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't really want to do Brinstar backwards, but this really
And more
would have been the
power
time to
bombs.
do it. I'm a little surprised he's going out of his way to pick up those missiles at this point. Since he does also have charge, ice, phaser, and 40 super missiles.
A nice, quick grapple kill from Azder.
Yeah, that was very well done. Hardly had time to look at it while also keeping track of what Dragondarch was checking on his side.
So, other than a lot of power bombs, Bluebird didn't have anything.
And not so far. We do still have the old Mother Brain check, and we might see Dragondarch go ahead and scout out the Criteria Supers. Because of all those extra power bombs he found, he's going to have enough for that. Okay, and I like this play from Azder. He's going to switch back to Link to the Past. He's got the Moon Pearl, he's got the flippers, so he's going to be able to maneuver around the Dark World this way if he chooses to, or he could just save and quit and jump in, probably by a Hype Cave and get started there.
Yeah, interestingly, he had Dark World access a while ago from those myths, but still has not done anything there yet. Wanted to do those SM checks that all those suits opened up.
Yeah, once we get a map check, we'll see what he's got available. I imagine we'll see that really soon, because he has the ability to full clear a lot of dungeons. Alright, here we go. Red Crystal Pod, that was Pendants at Ice and Swamp was the other one, I think, right?
I don't know, I was looking at Shaft Supers, which is Morph Bombs, so I don't think we're going to be getting those.
Definitely not. We just hit the point where we're no longer... The runners are no longer basically out of power bombs all the time, so they don't really need them. They have Can Fly. Space Jump.
Nothing major in Hype Cave, just a male upgrade and a shield. Which, depending on your opinions on shields, may be a good or bad thing.
Yeah, I think for the most part, the red one, it has a few uses, but really isn't that helpful.
I am a fan of the red shield because fireballs are really annoying.
True, yeah, there's a couple spots for sure where it's really helpful. If you get off script on the blind fight, for example, that's a really good place to have it. But it kind of gets progressively less useful. Particularly if you do a lot of runs like Azure does, where you don't get the red shield, you don't get the mirror shield. So there might be some cases where he's expecting to be able to use the fighter shield, but less likely that there's cases he's gonna, have that muscle memory of using the other one.
More power bombs in K45.
And the mail actually is probably pretty helpful, especially since Azure likely won't ever get that other mail upgrade. 5 hearts still isn't very many.
Yeah, this heart count is pretty low on both sides, so mail is welcome at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably see a really early Skull Woods play. I imagine we'll see that fairly quickly. We've got ability to full clear Thieves Town, Skull Woods, and Mothula on 5 hearts green mail is pretty scary, no matter how many times you've done it. Even at Azure's and Dragondarch's skill level.
So yeah, Podmire 5-6 crystals and Ice Swamp are the other 2 pendants.
It was Swamp, okay. Cool. Yeah, and I like this play from Dragondarch. He didn't have his mitts yet. He still doesn't have the hammer though. For some reason,
he's gonna also get no items out of Hera. With unless he can do the basement if he wants to get 1 item, which we still don't know what that is. But he cannot beat the dungeon.
Yeah, that's a pretty unappealing check.
It is.
Especially
when he's still got pretty much all of Norfair ahead of him. Yeah, he's just bailing. He's not even going to climb.
Yeah, I like that play. With how much he has available, especially with the difference between him doing this here, Dragondarch leaving the dungeon early, and when Azure did it and continued up, is that Dragondarch has the various suit, so he has Upper Norfair and Logic as well, which is just another cluster of things that he can logically check rather than going up a pendant dungeon that he can't complete anyway. See Dragondarch picking up his powder exactly as Azure turns it in to get
nothing.
A little surprised that Azure went over here before getting to work on these dungeons.
Yeah, he started at Hype Cave and worked his way up towards Village of Outcasts. Although now that he's grabbed the purple chest, he can't enter any dungeons, so...
Right, yeah, that's the thing, because once you start the Smith Chain, you don't really want to stop in the middle. You want to finish it and turn in the purple chest.
Ooh,
obviously it's paying out for him. But even still, like, the fact that he can full clear Thieves Town, and for Azure with blue mail, with a sword, he's got a cape for some reason. If things went horribly wrong in the blind fight or anywhere else in the dungeon, he could use the cape to survive it. Kind of surprised he didn't just do that and get that crystal dungeon taken care of.
I imagine what he's going to do is mirror activate flute, and then he can just fly to 3 and go in the portal whenever he wants to do Thieves Town. And there's the mirror shield.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess it's really just an extra flute back and forth.
Yeah, with mitts getting to the portal is a lot faster than if you have to go around the long way with hammer and gloves.
Well, and what I actually didn't notice until you said that is he's just going to be able to flute right here and take that warp that he left on the ground right in front of this flute activation statue.
Oh yeah, he can flute to the guy,
right there.
The purple chest turn-in guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so this actually makes a lot more sense than I had realized at first.
And meanwhile, we find another sword in the Skull Woods.
That's really nice. So that'll be... We'll see if Azure does the front of Skull Woods before the back, because I imagine he'll be doing that pretty shortly, but there's another sword.
Another sword. Both items in Skull Woods are swords.
Wow, okay. Alright, well, Dragondarch's probably feeling a lot better about going back to finish off this dungeon then. Looks like since he did get both items, though, he is going to put it off. Which actually makes a lot of sense. He might get boots to be able to do that later a little bit faster.
Yeah, interestingly, he actually could not do Battle of Skullwoods, or at least couldn't get to Mothula without a sword. But Front of Skullwoods had two swords for him, so... Meanwhile, if, since Azder already has a sword, he might opt to go straight to the back, and then we'll find the swords later. If at all.
Yeah, he's only got to find 2 to finish up the seed at some point, so those could potentially, in a weird case, be the 2 that he skips, but somehow I doubt that's what's going to happen. Alright, I like Dragondarch's play here, just to, since he has the cape, scout out the bumper ledge, go to Graveyard Ledge, and then swoop down into Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town. Since Azder came from the other side, he's going to go up and maybe check those on the way out, as opposed to the way into Village of Outcasts. Alright, I think we have 1 item so far in the front, is that right, of Thieves Town?
I believe so, yes. And that's another one. Actually, no. Yeah, just that one.
Oh, the rubies were the first one, okay.
Yeah, because he found the map and the small key, and he has to have the big key.
Right. Okay, well, it looks like Dragondarch is actually going to deal with Mothula right now. That's actually kind of surprising that he went off to Graveyard Ledge and then doubled back here. I don't really like this play. Like, he's not going to fight good.
He already found both items.
Yeah, he got both swords, so he knows there's nothing on Mothula. It is a red crystal, but the fact of the matter is he...
No, but, I mean, why is he doing this check?
Yeah. Oh. Good point. Because he doesn't need this key if it is a key. Oh, he wants the magic. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It is?
Yeah, because actually, neither runner has beaten a dungeon yet, so they haven't gotten the free magic refill from that.
Right. With the stun prize being magic, though, he's also not using his mirror here.
Don't think DD's checked
got him a little bit mixed up, I think, just all around, because that was a really interesting play. The stun prize is small magic, so you could use that and really fill up probably more quickly than that, kind of on the way to whatever he's planning on using magic for.
Okay, looks like
surviving Thieves.
He wasn't gonna beat Mothula, he just wanted the magic.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
Perhaps forgetting about that stun prize. But I'm guessing he wants the magic for Thieves Town, just in case he needs to use that cape or the blue cane that we saw got picked up at Sick Kid. Kind of glossed over that. Doesn't really have a lot of utility per se, but could get used for safety. So we're going to see a little bit of a convergence here. I think Dragondarch going into Thieves Town as well.
So far, nothing in Thieves Town. But it is a crystal, so in a moment we're going to have our first crystal on the board at just over an hour.
Yeah, not too surprising considering that Morph Ball was so early. We've got a few SM bosses done, and a little bit more cleared there before getting a crystal.
Yeah, in both suits.
very well done. Scripted blind fight from Azder.
Now, DD's actually not going to be able to check the big chest, so he's going to be leaving an item in there. We know it's just super missiles, but he might have that in the back of his mind for a while.
Yeah, that probably is something that, now that you mention it, influenced his decision to do Skull Woods first and at least check the front of those. Possibly even pushed him a little bit more towards that graveyard ledge check early, just in case it's that hammer.
And remembering to check Bottle Vendor.
I'd forgotten that was still out there.
Yeah, if you skip that early from lack of money, it's easy to forget and just never check it again, which can be a bad thing sometimes.
Yes, it can. Really, any check that can happen with, and it certainly happens all the time. It feels very bad every time you do it. With the flute activated, this is the first chance that Azure has to scout out this area. This is a good play. Seeing that Meyer is that Ether?
Yeah, I saw Ether.
Okay.
So, cannot actually get into the dungeon still with no boots or hookshot.
Yeah, we could see the Desert Palace dip here. Looks like we're going to. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, if it's not boots locked, it's another crystal he can get.
Yeah, Eastern and Pod are on the table as well, so I imagine we'll be seeing a trip over there somewhat soon. Lower Norfair would make a lot of sense. There's a lot of good plays available right now. This seed is given our runners a lot of options. Almost too much at once. Too many good plays.
Yeah, the only items missing are ones that don't open a huge amount of stuff. We need Cane still. With Swamp, a pendant hookshot might actually be needed if they can hover Moldorm too. I'm actually not sure if DD can hover. Do you know?
I do not.
And yeah, Desert is boots locked, so we are going to need those boots.
Yeah, I know there are a few runners too that know that Moldorm bounce that don't know the hover, so that's also an option if that's the only use for the hook shot that's required. But
Yeah,
again, I don't know if that's the thing that Dragondarch knows or not.
That is, I think that's more swag than hovering. It is definitely a very cool trick.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard someone say that it's easier, but I've also heard quite a few people say that it's harder. So it's maybe just depends on the person. It definitely looks fancy.
And nothing at Agena.
And apart from the lag frames, Dragondarch not losing out on anything, using the Cane of Burna to finish off blind. Just to take it nice and safe with his low hearts.
One crystal for both runners.
Yep.
And here comes the LN play. Not a great super combo with Charge and Ice Spacer. He'll be just fine.
Yeah, you can farm up 6 here from these Rippers fairly quickly.
So he's going to opt. Looks like he's going to opt not to do GT. GT's pretty slow to kill with Charge Beam if you don't have Plasma.
Yeah, with the portal, you can always kind of flute back later and pop in there.
Yeah.
No point draining his super missiles or just using his beams and having a slow fight. So I think that's a good call.
Yeah, he could come in later and just like save scum it basically since the portal auto saves. And he is going to opt to pick up X-Ray. I'm
kind of surprising.
He's already killed all the bosses you can microwave. Maybe just for stand-up safety.
Yeah, that's really the only utility it has. Otherwise, it's just going to get in the way of selecting items, potentially.
Not if you use item cancel. I know he uses vanilla control scheme, so he might use item cancel.
Alright, we see Dragondarch finishing up his Village of Outcasts checks, his magic powder turn in. We'll likely see him swoop down around to Hype Cave, and then see where he chooses to go. I kind of would like to see a backdoor Meridia play from Dragondarch. I think that makes a lot of sense after Hype Cave from him.
Plasma right before Ridley. Perfect timing.
Yeah, that's convenient. So now as you're not at all worried about those supers.
Oh, no, this will be a much faster Ridley fight. GT will be quick and easy if he opts to check that later too.
Yep, everything but wave beam that you could want, really. And I guess high jump boots to make the AI manipulations a little bit easier. At least if you're not familiar with one, but I don't think that'll make a difference for Azder.
So with 15 supers, it'll be 15 charge shots and 15 supers, optimally. They do the same amount of damage to Ridley.
And we do see a little bit of inefficiency from Dragondarch just by not having that hammer. He left the portal on the wrong side of the hammer pegs. So he's got to walk back to Dark World and come back.
He's also not going to be able to pick up his bow right now, so he's isolating that.
Yeah, that's a really bad spot, because he's doing everything else in the area. That may be a while till he gets back to there. And yeah, that was a very good Ridley fight. Absolutely no trouble at all. Nothing really for the trouble.
Yeah, so all 4 SM bosses down for him. He can go to Tourian whenever he wants.
Yeah, and it is a little bit faster to do Tourian before GT, so if there's really anytime it seems convenient or makes sense to do that, I imagine we will see that.
High jump would, he probably will try to find high jump first, because then he can do baby skip, but
yeah, that and wave beam just to speed up the number of shots it takes for Mother Brain. Those are the only 2 things that would really make a difference there.
And to clear out the crud for baby skip.
Oh yeah, that too. Dragondarch is going to finish up his chain of checks here at Agina. Expecting we'll see that upper Norfair play. There's just... that unlocks so much.
Yeah, and he knows Gravity Suit is waiting for him there, too.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised with that knowledge that he hasn't done that yet, but... It's one of those unfortunate things, because, like, the way he's grouping things together makes a lot of sense, and it is a very, as efficient as he can do it, full clear with what he has. But it's just he's missing hammer to make it a little bit better. He's missing that flute to make it a little bit better. Missing the flippers to be able to finish off with those flippers checks. He could have went east instead of west. After Hype Cave and Purple Chest turn in to do things a little bit better.
And now we're finally getting the rest of those Bubble Mountain area checks.
Ooh, those are nice.
There's Pegasus boots. Most of the progression's been in SM.
It really has. We've seen, apart from the pearl, the morph ball, and some swords.
And the bow.
Yeah, the bow. That's about it. A glove. One of the two was in Link to the Past. Half Magic's a nice find.
He better pick that up.
Yeah, I expect him.
I'm gonna have words with him if he doesn't pick that up. Good.
It's really not necessary. I mean, there's he doesn't need it, but there's plenty of rooms where he can be a lot more cavalier about his magic usage. Just be able to do things faster with it. So
plus, he's already committed to Silverless, pretty much.
Yeah, but even beyond that, like we've got the potential for, you know, Cold Stare fight. If he ends up doing Cold Stare on Fighter Sword, you know, that's something that, as far as Azder's concerned, might be required on the seed. Well, he's going to want Half Magic for that to make it go faster.
Or even just Fighter Sword Moth.
Yeah, even Fighter Sword Moth. I imagine we'd see Hammer on that one more so than the Fire Rod. It does twice the damage that the Fire Rod does. But Fire Rod is safer, and obviously the sword is certainly not the best. Fighter Sword Moth is gross.
DD finally doing Norfair checks, got his flippers. And it looks like we're going to see East Death Mountain from Azder. But first, Spike Cave.
Putting that Half Magic to use right away, actually. Now he doesn't have to worry about not having enough for anything else he wants to do.
We're not going to see East Death Mountain.
Apparently not. I mean,
Looks like he's going to go for the Pod Eastern double.
Yeah, this makes more sense to me, I think, than East Death Mountain. I'm a little surprised by the Spike Cave check, since that's a one-off that you could do at the end of your Death Mountain checks to avoid that additional save and quit. But Pod Eastern makes sense. Both crystals. Pod's a red crystal even.
Yeah, and Pod has quite a few items in it.
Yeah, Eastern's a quick one to full clear. Pod has a lot of items, and on top of that, depending on where the big key is, it might end up being a slow go mode, so even having to full clear it unnecessarily might not be a big deal.
Yeah, go mode Pod usually isn't that much faster. The big key's usually in the back somewhere.
Yeah, we see that extra map check. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure what Azder uses as far as a tracker.
He does not use a tracker.
Doesn't use one at all. Okay, I know he doesn't have one on his stream ever, but I didn't know if he had one off to the side or any way of marking even like pendant crystal rewards. So I'm probably double checking, making sure this is in fact red crystal.
He and I both actually. We both don't use trackers, and we both use default SM controls. So.
So what you're saying is you're both equally crazy.
Yes. Exactly.
So Dragondarch definitely catching up with all these progressive items here in Upper Norfair. Hopefully he makes the trip down to, or the trip to Meridia as well. To grab what he needs there, the flute and the, what else was in Meridia?
Sword and a lamp.
Oh yeah, the sword and lamp at Aqueduct, right.
So he doesn't technically need any of those items.
True, he does have Master Sword already.
And once he gets gravity, he has some minor access to Lower Norfair.
Yeah, he does still need to do Croc to get gravity in his hammer. Looks like he is doing speed and wave now, so he'll get his half magic and boots. Yeah, so for Azder, I think that Ice Rod might be a problem for him unless he goes for the Red Crystal Skull Woods and turns in that big bomb, Pyramid Fairy. Because he's left Front of Escape for a while, and that's one of those things that you don't really want to go back to super late in the seed.
Yeah, at this point you're pretty much committed to, clearing out crystal dungeons to progress towards Ganon's Tower, and if you have abandoned Sphere 1 checks, you're not really going to go back for them for quite a while.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that obviously Ice Rod can be anywhere, but you've already progressed so much past Sphere 1, as things have opened up more and more, you're following the chain, and it's of course not always linear, it certainly isn't, but you're more likely to continue to find progression following the things you're picking up, so that could be a tough spot for him, even though he is ahead on some of the other items and some of the other clears in the race at the moment. Luckily, we are seeing Dragondarch go through to the Crocmire area. Hopefully he goes down and actually fight Croc.
I didn't actually see, but presumably he picked up his boots.
Okay, this is actually bad. Never mind. He did pick up his boots, but he is not going down to Crocmire. He's just going up for the gravity suit. Which means Dragondarch is not getting his hammer. Or he is going that way. Okay. Just making me nervous.
He might be planning to do Croc and then head straight over into LN. In which case, gravity suits. If he's not exiting Croc area into Business Center, then that's a side trip he has to take. Or he's just going to go to LN right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
I mean, I can see it. I mean, Croc is like a side trip. It's called a pendant dungeon of SM, and Gravity Suit opens up a lot between Lower Norfair and Meridia.
Right, and he could always opt to, after the Lower Norfair trip, hop into Croc on the way out.
Yeah.
I guess that really wouldn't cost him anything. He wouldn't be losing any efficiencies, not having the hammer for Mire area or for Lower Norfair. It doesn't help in either of those places.
I suspect we might see a Mire dip from him too, since he doesn't have a flute to head back quickly, and he does have boots to bonk across the gap. He might go in there.
Yeah, he's got 2 swords. He's got Fire Rod. He's got Cape and Cane if he either does find the Cane of Samaria in there, he can safely get to the back and deal with the boss, or just to survive, like the spike floor and the other surprisingly damaging enemies. They can sneak up on you. Yeah, meanwhile, Hammer getting put to use on Helmsword King there by Azder. Very well done fight. I don't think we saw anything really worth getting apart from the crystal.
No items of importance, but we did get a red crystal out of that.
Yep, and as expected, heading straight into Eastern Palace, since they're so nice to combo these two together.
And nothing at GT.
Nothing at GT. Dragondarch does have the luxury of, I think he's got, what, 20 or so more missiles than Azder had at this point in time. So he can afford to take a little bit of time on the fight and not have to use so many charge shots. He can just use super missiles only.
Not aiming up.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't think I've ever seen that. Standing in that safe spot, but not angling up. I didn't know that was really an option. It worked.
It did work, but I think he was only getting 3 shots per super grab instead of 4.
I'm actually a little surprised Dragondarch is farming right now before doing Desert Mire area, because he could just stumble upon some more super missiles and not even have to worry about this farm. Or Plasma Beam, which we know he's going to stumble upon in Lower Norfair.
Yes, he is.
But yeah, I would have expected him to pop out. He knows he can full clear Desert. There's no reason not to be able to do that right now. And then revisit the Mire area, make that decision later.
Yeah, we are gonna probably see a desert full clear from him, so...
Oh, that's a valid point in chat, bringing up that Dragondarch does not use both angle up and angle down on the shoulder buttons, so he's not able to crouch and angle up.
He was standing, though. Just hold up.
Oh, does that work the same way?
Yeah. The crouching is only relevant if you're using charged plasma shots to get double hits. If you're just doing supers, you can just stand and hold up to aim up.
Right.
DD... Oh, now he thought about rejecting the X-ray, but then he changed his mind. He has not fought Dragon yet, so that pickup makes a bit more sense for him.
Yeah, that's true. He's gonna have plasma charge, X-ray,
Yeah.
maybe even wave for the extra damage. Be able to do a nice microwave Dragon. And who knows, if he goes into the front, he might even microwave Batoon as well. Another nice, perfectly on script boss from Azder.
Yep.
That's
Nothing in
fairly
Eastern,
easy.
but another crystal taken care of. Accidentally mirroring directly on top of the pod door.
And Azder is going to Pyramid.
Pyramid Catfish, I'm guessing.
Well, don't believe this is the fastest way to get to either of those. With Mirror and Flutes, if he's doing Pyramid, he'd want to do Pyramid Fairy with it, I imagine. It's really surprising that he would be doing that here. Yeah, he's doing Hobo.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is the fastest way to check hobos.
Yeah,
right here.
Yeah. Especially since the other red crystal is completable and has 2 items. I feel like it'd be a little foolish of Azure to do Pyramid Ledge check without getting the big bomb.
It's not completable without Red Cane.
Oh, I think I'm misreading the tracker then. Never mind. That's my mistake. For some reason, I thought Skull Woods was a red crystal.
Oh, no, I think it's Misery Mire.
Okay. That's my mistake. I've mentioned that a couple times, actually, and I did not realize that. I mentioned that earlier, but then this makes a lot more sense. Dragondarch also with a nice Ridley fight. He had a lot more supers to spare.
And looks like Ashter's going to be picking up his Ice Rod now. This is a nice way to route this, is just to combine Pyramid Check with Escape if you haven't done Escape yet.
Yeah, and I don't think we saw Dark Cross. Does Dark Cross have the map?
No, I think map was in back of Escape.
Okay. Because I know that when Dragondarch was here, he did the front of Escape, didn't have the key. And then we did the back, he didn't go through to Dark Cross. I didn't know if it was because it was the map or if it was because just he didn't have a Fire Rod or a sword at the time. Or a, lamp, Fire Rod, any of those things to help make it a little bit easier. As you're leaving that key... Oh, right, he doesn't need the key at this point. He doesn't have to go through Dark Cross, he has to get to Dark Cross. Yes, that'll be a new check.
Eight hitting the guard instead of setting it on fire.
The burn animation is a little slow. I don't know which one's faster, but you could have opted to do the real swag strat of freezing the green guard and throwing him at the ball and chain guard.
Oh, that is the best strat.
Which I think that's faster than the fire rod too, since you don't have to wait out the burn animation, at least if you get a good setup for it. It only takes 2 throws. But yeah, the menu being added on as well, no matter what you do. 8 slashes is probably still faster. And yep, looks like nothing of worth in Dark Cross, just a bomb capacity upgrade.
So at this point, Ashter is just the red cane away from go mode.
Yeah, potentially Bombos as well, if that's needed for Turtle Rock. Because we haven't seen that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we don't know what that is quite yet.
I mean, if you find the red cane, it's one of those things where you probably just assume it's one of the 2 that you have. Looks like Azure missed the circle. The hitbox, and that's, or I don't even know if you call it a hitbox, it's a little awkward. Like, you can actually activate Catfish without landing what you're throwing inside the circle if you do it in just the right spot. It's all
finally gonna get to see what Zora's selling too.
Yeah, let's hope Dragondarch goes down and actually does the Crocomire checks. That's really what he needs to do. Since he's missing, of course, the Cane of Samaria, just like Azure is, but also the Hammer, which locks the bow. And he is not. He's going back to Business Center to Meridia. So I'm guessing it'll be a very long time until we see Crocmire on his side.
Just a scam from Zora. I really want to see what's on East F Mountain, but Azder is determined to just keep me waiting. It is pretty much the biggest density of items left in the game that nobody's checked.
Oh yeah, just a huge number of items there. Like,
and we're getting a high five in Kingstown.
Samus and Link giving each other a high five on the way in and out of this King's Tomb. So after the Bonk Rocks check, we'll see where both these runners opt to go. As you're checking Lumberjacks, he hasn't done this yet. Just to make sure, since it is in logic, he's only got the one sword, but he has the cape. Both runners have the cape and the lamp.
Dee does not have the lamp. He hasn't done Meridia yet.
Oh, right. Never mind. He doesn't have the lamp. Good call.
Oh yeah, Azder still needs a sword for Go Mode too.
Right. He'll assuredly find his swords in Skull Woods. It just remains to be seen whether it's on the way in or out. It looks like he's going there right now. Yeah, I totally understand him not doing this earlier, but running lower on checks, it's a crystal. He's got quite a few more hearts than he had when he was in this area last time, so...
Yeah, plus half magic.
Plus the half magic, absolutely. And we'll have high five in Skull Woods as well. Dragondarch also going for the Mothula kill. And it looks like, interestingly enough, both will be doing it with Master Sword. Azder not going to be getting that other sword from the front of the dungeon. At least on the way in, he might check it on the way out.
Yeah, when he finds no item in the back, he might do some more of those front checks.
Quick accidental map check from Dragondarch. Something that's easy to do, especially if you're trying to do like a fire rod dash or something and you just hit the controller, just mash all the buttons at once and you accidentally hit the map button.
Hey, Skullwoods is a confusing dungeon.
It is a little bit, but it's one of the ones that map doesn't really help, at least me. When I was playing casually when I was younger, I never really found a lot of use for the map. Especially in here. I do want to give Dragondarch a bit of a hard time for not getting rid of those sword beams before the fight, just making it way harder on himself. Sword beams do half as much as Master Sword slashes, so by having those, you're kind of limiting your damage and making it harder by slowing down the fight.
Yeah. But with half magic fire rod spam, he still manages to take care of it.
Yeah. Once he got damaged, he ended up doing a lot more damage more quickly, so it kind of benefited him getting hit once early in the fight. both runners with a little bit longer fights than you normally see from Mothula, but getting through it no trouble. No risk of death or anything like that.
He was staying high towards the top spikes for a bit.
Yeah, sometimes when he has the fire rod, you can get him to recoil off the spikes really well, and sometimes it doesn't quite work, and then your hits just continue to get eaten, which both runners had to contend with. Dragondarch going to, I believe this is Mushroom Turn-In and Catfish is all he's got in this area. And Zora as well. Unless he opts to do Backdoor Meridia. He might do that after the Catfish check.
He's not doing Mushroom Turn-In. Maybe he'll do it on the way back.
Yeah, I like the turning in the mushroom on the way back, provided that is Dragondarch's plan. If he's going to dead end here at Zora and save quit, which is also an option to avoid this little bit of backtracking, if he's doing that, I think he would have been better served turning in the mushroom on the way. But otherwise, it makes more sense to do this since you can just run past the house and you don't have to like stop your dash to turn that in and then start moving again. It's a very small optimization. So yeah, it looks like he is swimming out of here, which is a little slow, but he's going to want to do this probably to go to Backdoor Meridia anyway, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's true. The Whirlpool. The Whirlpool that's just west of the Mushroom Turn-In puts you like right in front of the Dark Shopping Mall area.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a long run and swim to get there otherwise.
Yeah, it's kind of always a long way. Even this is somewhat long, but it's the fastest way you can get there.
What if the Mushroom Turn-In winds up being Kane?
That'd be something. It's not, unfortunately.
Right color, wrong shape.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, obviously, it's still up in the air until we find that Kane of Samaria and the Bombos Medallion potentially as well. But Azure definitely has an advantage here, no doubt about it. Dragondarch needs that hammer, and more importantly, needs to take that hammer and follow it up to get his bow. And the fact that the two things he's missing that he needs, that Azure has, are progressive like that, just really puts him in a tough spot. Yeah, and he's going to that backdoor Meridia, which will get him the flute, it'll give him the lamp, which are potentially going to speed up a few things, but not direct progression.
My personal bet at this point is that Red Kane is on East Death Mountain.
I mean, that's very likely. Playing the odds, you definitely have a good chance of being right. Honestly, I think that for both of our runners, that's likely going to be the next spot. This is the last crystal dungeon that Azder can clear. This is the last SM boss that Dragondarch can clear. He doesn't have any full clearable crystal dungeons except for Desert, which he kind of left behind when he was in Lower Norfair. So
he can't get to East Death Mountain yet.
Oh, because he doesn't have the hammer. Right. My mistake.
There's a microwaved shrimp.
Very nice and quick kill. Microwave shrimp and fried snakes, I guess, on Azder's side at the same time. Okay, and Azder skipped the big chest, hoping the item was on Landmo. It was not. He's going to go back and just confirm, get the second item here, see if that's what we need.
And there it is.
Yep, it is. It is
so
what is needed.
That is quasi-go mode. We don't know for sure until we see that TR medallion. Looks like he's going to opt to just do Meyer first while he's here.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if you... Yeah, I see pretty much no risk of doing Meyer here. Because even if you find the big key up front, you just go mode the dungeon. You can get back to it so easily if you end up needing to come back to it.
Yeah, I expect him to just basically go mode this.
Yeah. And at this point, you think, if it's Bombos, I'm going to full clear all of Light and Dark or Light and Dark Death Mountain anyway. No reason to waste time in this mostly key-filled dungeon anyway.
Meanwhile, DD getting his tempered sword and lamp. Well, it looks like I was wrong. It was not on East Death Mountain.
No, it was not.
So, putting it off forever was the right play.
Yeah, this is really unique. We might get to see an entire Death Mountain skip. A little less well-known than the Cack skip or the Bryn skip. But just as valuable, almost, as far as time spent. Or time saved, rather.
Of course, the bonus item is where is the hook shot, because it is logically required. We may or may not find out.
Yeah, it's logically required. It might even be in Ganon's Tower.
It could be.
Since obviously we don't need it for Swamp. The progressive items, there are... It is possible to have progressive items in Ganon's Tower as long as they're progressive for Link to the Past. Or... Yeah.
Like, the hookshot could be in there in this case, or if you have the Eastern Pod pendant situation, bow could be in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Asher throwing the block into the pit to set up for spooky action. And I'm guessing he didn't get the setup right because he didn't go for it.
Well, this is for the fluteless setup.
Oh,
basically,
there.
It sets a different value. It sets a different value than the one that is more commonly seen. So you actually can't use the fire red shot on the spike to hit the first crystal switch.
Okay.
So yeah, he had to walk around and hit that one directly, but it does work in that second room. You notice he did those slashes to get himself in the right pixel, the right timing, so that when he hit the anti-fairy during the fire rod dash, it did exactly what it was supposed to do and hit the crystal switch in the room above.
That is one trick I have not learned the nuances of.
Yeah, it's one that's really important in that all dungeons speedrun that Azure was in that tournament and did pretty well. I imagine he would have done better if he had a little bit more time to practice for it, but he certainly did well making it into the brackets, and that's a strat that he's did a very good job showing off right here.
Just one more crystal left. He's got to go to East F Mountain now. He can't keep teasing me anymore.
Yeah, as much as I would enjoy seeing more dungeons, I don't think Azure's going to be going to Swamp Palace or Ice Palace at this point in time. And I missed it. I saw Dragondarch did pick up the flute. I didn't see if he reset it away. I would be surprised if he did. Because he knows it gets him around the world so much faster, it wouldn't be worth the time loss backtracking. Like, he could just backtrack to the save here at Aqueduct.
Yeah, since he left Desert behind, he can get back there a lot faster now. Book's still not found, so it could be anywhere. It could be in GT. So mirroring the desert is important.
Alright, and we're about to find out if Azure is in fact in go mode. He is. It is
Double Ether.
No idea what time it was when he hit go mode, but we found out for sure at 150 and some change.
I think it was about 145-ish. He's on pace for a really good time at this point. He has just one dungeon in the GT and Tourian.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like a, what, 215 pace?
Yeah, this is definitely potential for a sub 220.
See, Dragondarch did sink a little bit of time going to that plasma check. I believe Azure skipped. Ends up being just a piece of heart. There's the realization that he does not have the hook shot.
Yeah, we've all done this.
Yep. Yeah, I tend to catch myself at that little exit ramp at the top, and I just...
Oh, he missed the corner. He's taking the extra long route.
Yeah, he didn't notice till he was going to menu to switch off the fire rod, which is unfortunately a little bit too late.
Yeah. I'm not actually sure what his PB is. This could be a potential PB for him.
Yeah, just to remind everyone, chat, Dragondarch is missing the hammer, which also unlocks the bow, and he needs both of those. So he does need to go back to Crocmire to get his hammer, and then to Hammer Pegs to get the bow. Those are the two things he needs, and potentially the boots. There seems to be discussion of whether or not he can hover, but the other two are for sure required. Dragondarch is running out of places to go, though. At this point, he's going to activate his flute, probably going to go back to Desert and Mire area, possibly even do the front of Misery Mire looking for the cane in case it's in there. or in case hammer or bow is.
Yeah, Mire is one of the Dark World dungeons that can be full clear without hammer, so that would definitely be a thing to do. And it's a red crystal.
Was the big key vanilla? Or not? I missed that, but I thought Azder already had the big key, and he did go and check the
Yeah, I think he did.
vanilla big key chest. Is he not comfortable with the hover? Potentially just being thorough here in case it's the hook shot, just to make things safer and a little bit more assured for himself. That's what I would guess, because I was fairly confident he's comfortable with hovering, but
he definitely doesn't need anything else. The rest of his gear is more than enough to take care of Ganon and Mother Brain.
Yeah, it's a little odd that he's checked the vanilla big key chest, and then then he was forced to check the big chest.
Yeah.
So he didn't have that extra key, but he did opt to skip Mimic Cave. That lava chest is kind of slow. Like, I could see checking Laser Bridge. That's 4 you can get very quickly, 4 items. That lava chest is a bit of a time sink. You forget
Mirror Shield coming in handy on Laser Bridge.
So it's just because you forget how useful that is here sometimes when you just don't ever have it for this room.
Pretty much the only thing in the game it's really useful for.
Yeah, it can speed up like some of the mimic rooms in GT a little bit. I'm sure there's other uses that I'm not thinking of. I guess the Lionel fireballs if you don't have boots and you want to protect yourself heading over to GT. And Dragondarch making the same play that Azure did, taking that big key straight to Landmola's, hoping to not have to go to that big chest, even though that's where the cane is.
Yeah, when you have a mirror, when you can mirror right back to that left side door, that's a pretty common play.
Yeah.
And that is all 7 crystals for Azure.
Yep. And if anyone is interested in playing along the GT Big Key guessing game, you can put your guesses in chat for where you think the big key is going to be, numbers 1 through 22.
Oh, is that what they're doing?
I think so. They might just putting their favorite numbers in chat. That could be it. Either way, it's definitely very impressive to see how quickly some of these seeds can be completed by some of our top runners in the tournament. Like this is sub 2 hours and we're entering GT. That's amazing.
Yeah, there's been some really impressive times put up so far. No keys in Hope Room. And DD getting his red cane. Probably going to take that straight into Meyer, since he's in the area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with what he's got left, there's no other really smart play for him.
Yeah, it's that or go back for Croc or do like Shack Tool or something.
Yeah, I mean, Croc is at least a dense cluster of items, but the fact that he has put it off as long as he has means it's just... It's not going to be good to go back to. Although it's where he does have to go back to get his hammer.
Azder having to do some bonk and bomb jump strats to get over to left side GT. So, well, the hookshot can be in GT, it cannot be over here.
Correct.
Because it's required to get across these pits logically.
Yeah, which would be interesting, because the small key on the torch could have forced you to the right side to go get your hookshot. And Azure may be skipping it by not doing that, even if it is here. Or potentially it's on, like, say, Ice Armos.
It looks like he's doing Dark Magician strats.
Yeah, this is definitely not exactly Dark Magician strats, since he went to the Firebar room. That's not common. This is really interesting. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see him go all the way to the Rando room. I think that makes more sense if you're going to be doing... If you're going to go through the Stalfos room and actually kill the Stalfos and then head down to the Firebar room, continuing to the Rando room, I think makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I think maybe the potential for hookshot being over here might be influencing his routing a bit.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I would wager you're correct.
It could also be in tile room.
It sure could.
This Gibdo's just getting right in the way.
I think... Alright, there's the big key.
High jump boots.
Alright, so no hook shot for Azure. I guess it still could be up in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, with big key on right side, the hookshot could be in one of the 3 chests before Mold Room 2.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think based on the key logic, since there was no keys in the Hope room, Tile room has to be either a small key or the hookshot to get to Dark Magician, to that Stalfos room. Because you could bonk your way to the Firebar room and use up your key otherwise. Or was that a small key? I don't know, I might have missed that.
Taking the refill fairies.
Yeah, that's definitely a smart play. I mean, 3 hearts is pretty scary. Pretty confident Azure could handle it, but the fact that he has extra ones, he can be a little more cavalier and aggressive with his strats. Kind of use your health as a resource, take some damage.
Yeah, he has no safety potions.
Right.
One of the recent changes is that bottles always come empty, so you have to buy potions if you want any.
Yep. And you can see the only room he's struggling with so far here is a fantastic gauntlet, apart from that first room when he had sword beams. Sword beams are the worst in the gauntlet.
Yeah, sword beams, they tend to get in the way a lot. Did he find the wave beam in Meyer?
I think I missed it if he did. But that's a nice find, really the best convenience item that we didn't know where it was already.
I saw DD find it, I wasn't sure if Azure found it.
I don't think Azure got it. I think he got the big key and then headed straight to Vitreous. Kind of surprised as you're using the lamp for these torches. With half magic and fire rod, he's got more than enough to do the next set of rooms without even bothering to pick up that magic pot.
That might just, maybe that's just his preferred strat from running categories where you don't have half magic.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's easier just to do what you're comfortable with, because it's what you're used to. I know that's the case for some particular dungeon routing, like maybe, things like opting to hit that crystal switch in Ice Palace before doing Icebreaker, just so you know it's always the same way. Stuff like that. Could be one of those things.
Alright. Timed to hover. And he hit the map button.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly happens sometimes. It's salvageable if you do that occasionally, but it definitely makes it harder.
More trying to get in the way.
This is a tough one because, like, you kind of have to regrip the controller for anyone that isn't familiar with it when you try to hover, and it can be really difficult to enter this Moldorm arena and get positioned safely, and then regrip the controller like without feeling the pressure of him bearing down on you. It definitely makes it harder than some of the other hovers because of that. You don't get that immediate retry like you do in some areas.
Looks like DD's going to check Eastern next.
Yeah, I actually forgot this was available for him. I'm surprised he's not doing Eastern with Pod.
Yeah, even though he does not have...
He doesn't have bow or hammer. Oh, no, did he do for the front of Pod? He could at least check the first chest.
I don't think he's been in a Pod yet.
And then, or rather, he could have gone to the Dark World, mirrored right in front of Pod to check Eastern here, and then taken the portal back if necessary. I think that would have been a really smart play based on what he's got left. He does have Flute to just flute back to 5, so it's not really that much different. As you're, practicing right here, hovering up the stairs.
That's a good party trick you can show your friends. Go upstairs without touching them.
This is a tough spot. This is one of those things that it's a hard thing to do, and it's sometimes you just aren't quite on, whether it's the pressure of the race or just how you're feeling that day. I know that's something I've experienced personally, that it could take 2 tries, could take 12 tries.
Yeah, executing this kind of thing under pressure isn't easy. He got about halfway that time, so he's getting in the groove.
Yeah, sometimes that's like the best thing. Once you get a few steps off, you think, okay, I got it. I'm back in the right frame of mind. I can do this.
Meanwhile, Moldorm does not want to be ignored.
Yeah, and just to point out, mentioning in chat, you can kill Moldorm, but he does respawn every time you fall, provided you don't open that chest, which obviously, once Asher gets over there, won't need the chest.
I think he respawns even if you do open the chest.
Does he? Okay.
I think, yeah, the Pendant Dungeon bosses always respawn in GT. They're just there forever.
Interesting. Yeah, and during the explosion, too, there's additional lag, and it can make it even harder to hover across while he's exploding, so you have to wait out that cutscene. So it's a huge time loss to try and kill Moldorm every time.
Yeah. The benefit of opening the chest is that and he makes it.
Nice.
So that was, I didn't count, but that was probably about 10 tries or so.
Yeah, it was potentially more tries than it would have taken, less time than it would have taken to find the hook shot, probably, based on what we have left. But
yeah, the hook shot could be, it could be in swamp, it could be in ice. For all he knows, it could be in retro Britain. He hasn't checked that. Could be the
green pendant turn in from Tower of Hera. You know, all that's still outstanding. I was going to point out, too, the following room is surprisingly difficult without hookshot as well. Most runners can use that to, like, set up a good position to dash up, but without it, he's forced
nice
to
triple there.
Mini helmets.
Yeah, that room's mean without a...
What's happening on Ash's screen?
Why was
Aga's not moving?
Yeah, why wasn't he taking knockback?
I don't know what's going on there. Does that have...
I don't think that has anything to do with hovering.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think so. Like, I don't know. I can't say I've seen that before, or at least haven't noticed it before. That was very weird. I'm going to ask Azder to see if he knows what's going on after the race. He's usually the guy in chat that people ask when someone has a question about the games, because he's so knowledgeable, but can't ask him
using a medallion on the mini helm swords made that happen somehow, I'm not sure. We're getting a grapple Croc fight. This is a fun one.
Wait, that works?
Well, it works for dismembering him. And DD finally getting that hammer.
Seeing all kinds of new things today.
Just, you don't want to be holding on to Croc when he falls into the acid. Ask Solsky about that one.
Alright, good to know. Dragondarch stamping his foot on the ground. At least that's what it looks like.
Silverless, no problem. Getting some good triples in there. And that is single G for Azder.
Yeah, well then I know I pointed out earlier it's going to be maybe around a 215 seed. A little bit of trouble with the hover. Stretched out a little bit longer, so going to be closer to a 220. But
yeah, he can still sub 220 with a good Tourian.
Yeah, and he did get those high jump boots too, actually, in the compass room. Along with that big key.
So he can go for baby skip. I'm not actually sure if he got wave beam or not. We'll see in a moment. Now it looks like he didn't.
No, he did not. Yeah, wave beam and I guess spring ball for a blue bomber are the only things that could potentially speed this up any more than what he's already got. So it should be pretty quick. I missed it. Did Dragondarch take the save for some reason? I'm a little surprised by that one. Did he take the save to reset?
Yeah, he saved at the Croc save, the post-Croc save, to reset the other items.
I've not seen that, but I could see that being faster. Potentially, if you don't find anything valuable there. Which there certainly wasn't, apart from the hammer that was on Croc himself. Nothing else was worth grabbing.
Really nice Metroid 3 there.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
I have no idea how that guy didn't get frozen.
Same. Maybe somehow that Metroid is attached to the Aga 2 behavior. And Dragondarch undoubtedly feels behind. The hammer itself really doesn't give him much except for Turtle Rock. So I'm guessing he's going to full clear Turtle Rock and then finish up the rest of the Dark Mountain checks. Or, sorry, Death Mountain checks. Both Light and Dark World. Looking for that bow.
Ooh. Did he get... Yeah, he got baby speed.
Oh, baby speed.
Metroid grabbed him like at the last frame of the door transition.
Oh. Well, this is fine. Azder can save and then reset, and it'll correct that. Or just choose to go on with it, if you wanted to.
Yeah, that might kill the sub 220, though.
Yeah. No, he's not.
Is he gonna go for all the memes? Okay.
And I'm guessing you can't do Zeb skip like this. Is that correct?
I doubt it.
I mean, you surely can't do the speed Zeb skip.
Yeah, the speed Zeb skip is actually really easy like this.
Oh, it is?
Well, you can charge a shine in like half a room, like for free.
Oh.
Because your animation is slowed down. Or your movement's slowed down.
I figured it was just like, maybe more like suitless underwater movement physics. And you weren't able to charge a shine spark. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can charge shines in a really short distance.
Cool.
Oh. This is 30 shots with ice plasma.
And luckily, your lateral movement speed doesn't really matter for this fight. I guess unless you're... a little confused on that menuing.
Yeah, setting for stand-up, but turned off too many things by accident.
Oh, okay, just missed those. All right, I didn't know if there was a strategy involved and a particular reason for him doing that.
No, I guess he's not going for stand-up.
Okay.
I think he did that just so that he wouldn't have to try to damage down while in baby speed.
Yeah, that's kind of what I...
It would be pretty easy to take too much damage while you're doing that.
Right, or not enough. If you get over there too slowly. And then the next phase of the rainbow beam's triggered and drains too much health.
Chain Chomp's being mean, blocking the shots.
Sounds about right. As the baby Metroid dies, we see a little Metroid on the other screen. Dragondarch gets bunny beamed.
So, you know, the planet's gonna blow up, but Samus is in no hurry. She's just gonna take this at a bit of a leisurely pace.
It is kind of hard to call leisurely with her arms wildly pumping up and down.
Well, it's like flapping your wings. You know, get a little extra speed boost. Maybe that's something she learned from the Chozo, since they're birds. This room's actually not that easy with baby speed, because horizontal movement during platforming is pretty hard.
Yeah, because you can't really just wall jump the way you would normally do it. Oh, and apparently you can't make it through
I'm not sure why that happened. The rarely seen left side spark. Yeah, there's plenty of time to save the animals with baby speed on. I don't think we're going to be seeing that, though, unless he's, like, just absolutely going fully committed to all the memes.
Yeah, I really doubt that in a race.
I mean, you say that, but he kept baby speed in a race, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I assume maybe there was just something I was missing that this ended up being faster than the reset for some reason.
No, it definitely is not faster.
But, being faster.
Get your GGs in chat.
Yeah,
Azure finishes with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's still a fantastic time. We've seen obviously every seed's different, and a lot of things it comes down to. We've seen a lot of, 230, 245 times. That's kind of a pretty hot range for runners in this tournament.
Anything under 230 is just a phenomenal time.
Yeah. I know I personally have never gotten under 230. That's very well done.
And Asher is joining us now for an interview. GG, Asher.
Okay, so that was slower than I thought it was going to be.
The baby speed, specifically?
The baby speed.
Yeah, well, luckily that wasn't the determining factor, and it was fun to watch, at least.
So, does anyone want to guess where the hook shot was?
Swamp?
I would have guessed Ice Palace.
Does anyone want to guess what specific chest it was in?
Big chest in swamp.
Sure was.
Really, it was vanilla.
Wow. Alright, well, then it sounds like you save time, even with some difficulty hovering, by not going there and getting that.
Wasn't it in the same chest yesterday?
Yeah, that was yesterday, right?
Oh, yeah, it was.
The PRNG dream lives.
It was vanilla big key as well.
So, what are your thoughts on this seed?
It was really fast. I was worried when I saw Swamp and Ice pendants, but Flippers and Mirror show up pretty early. I guess Flippers wasn't that early in the chain. Maybe it was Mirror. Or was Speed again?
It was a Cathedral, I believe?
Cathedral, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, so that's not too bad. But they were both behind. They were both behind Speed. Like the start was just, I got a lot of good items out of Logic. Nothing that really like helped me clean out any areas in Link to the Past, so I just kind of stayed in Super Metroid.
Yeah, this seed was pretty stacked in favor of Super Metroid.
And not only was the progression there in Super Metroid, but it was all stuff to make Super Metroid better. Like, you had that screw attack super early, Dragondarch got the space jump super early, both suits were early. And then you got traded places, and he got the screw attack, and you got the space jump.
The main, I think, point of divergence is that he opted not to do Crocomire for quite a long time, so he missed out on his hammer.
Like, he didn't do that. He didn't get hammer until I think like just before I finished. I was thinking about leaving it too, since Speed showed up, but I was kind of looking for stuff to help out Lower Norfair. Like specifically, I was looking for more supers or something to make Ridley faster, and also make the GT check worth it, because Blue hadn't turned up yet, and I didn't really have anything good for the Mire area.
Oh, after your Agate 2 fight, do you know why he wasn't taking knockback?
I might have seen it like one time before, because I'd forgotten this was a thing, I think, but I think I knew at one point. I don't know for sure, but when you hover past Voldorm 2 without killing him, you know how there's the bumper that is just going crazy for no reason?
Yeah.
I think it might be a similar reason to that. I'm not sure. Like, the reason that the bumper goes crazy, was it going crazy this time? Because I don't remember hearing it. I wasn't paying that much attention.
I don't remember hearing
I
it
don't think
either.
it was.
Okay, so I wonder if like something else. Like, okay, so the reason that it usually goes crazy is when you transition the super tile, one of Moldorm's properties, which is like there are certain I think actors that have a specific property that the bumpers check for to see whether they should bounce if they collide. And so Moldorm has that set, Goldorm has that variable set, and it's not cleaned up when you do the super trial transition if he's still alive. So that variable that says that it can collide with the bumper is actually transferred to the bumper itself. And because the bumper is always has an overlapping hitbox with itself, it's always in the same place as itself, the collision check always makes it keep hitting itself. So if that didn't happen, like I wonder if that somehow carried over to Maga 2, like maybe some other, like maybe not like the same slot of actor, but like maybe some other dirty data got carried over there and messed with him.
Okay. Yeah, we were curious if maybe it had some like compounding with the fact that you used the Bombos medallion to clear out those mini Helmas to get through that room.
That might have been part of it. That might have done something. I don't know for sure. But that would be one of my first thoughts as well. Because that doesn't... people don't do that very often.
Yeah.
Like, I was just such in a bad situation, I had to eat through there.
Yeah, not Bombos.
So, what was going through your mind when you were trying to hover? Any nerves at all?
A little bit. My hovers are really inconsistent. I felt like I was significantly ahead to the point where I would have enough time to make it. Like I don't think the longest I think it's taken me is like 10 minutes, and that was a really bad day. But I was thinking in the back of my mind, like, there's always, like, what if he stumbled into the super efficient route, and like maybe he did escape with it at the beginning of the game, so he had Ice Rod right away, and maybe like what if he had done Desert, already having Ice Rod earlier than me, and gotten Samaria because he had less to look for, because maybe he just cut out the big overworld loop that I did. Or maybe I was going to spend a lot of time doing other stuff when Samaria was in, like, Blue Brinstar or something that I had left for later because I didn't have enough power bombs. Or, you know, what if Hookshot's in Swamp and he made a gamble for it because of the matchup. But, like, after... Sorry, not Hookshot. Samaria. What if, like, Samaria or T-Rock Medallion was in Swamp? I was worried about those things, but... mostly, I figured even if he did get a really good route, he's still gonna have to look for Hookshot, and I have a feeling that there's a reason that Swamp and Ice are accessible, even though they are, like, they're not needed to enter GT. So I figured, like, there's a decent chance that he's gonna have a hard time finding Hookshot.
Makes a lot of sense. Were you at all ever concerned about the upper rec ship checks that you'd left? I know that was like really the earliest thing that you decided to skip out on. First point in time where you were not super thorough in your routing.
Yeah, I was super thorough in a lot of other places. I skipped out on that. I was really like debating the first time I was in there whether I wanted to full clear it or not, and it took me a while to actually make a decision. And once I got up top, I realized the thing that pushed me towards leaving, even though I was already in the courtyard, was the grapple was out of logic, and then I had found... Oh, what did I find?
The Varia suit was right supers, I think.
Varia. I found Varia, and that meant that you had to get there. Yeah, that meant that you had to get there before grapple in logic. So grapple wasn't the thing leading there, and speed was also not the thing leading there. Or sorry, no, speed was the thing leading there. Speed couldn't be there, is what I realized. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a movement item that now it can't be here.
Well, speed couldn't be behind grapple specifically, but space jump was what.
Oh yeah, space jump. Sorry, I didn't mean exclusively.
Right.
But
I see what you're saying.
What I'm trying to say is that there were. It was a lot less likely that there was going to be a good movement item there for me to be able to do like the sky missile and even the RCP tank I didn't want to do on 5 PVs. It's not that I can't do it, but it's like it's more. I have a lot of other things that I can do that I can do really fast, and I would rather not waste a lot of my time taking 2 minutes on this one check. And if I just leave as much stuff here as possible, it'll either incentivize me to come back later, like it'll be one of the first things on my list when I start running out of really good things to do, or I get lucky and none of it had anything and I just get to skip it and I save like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it makes sense. Turns out the only thing up there was a mail upgrade at the sky missiles, and the mushroom was one of those checks. But mushroom ended up being nothing. We thought for a while that could be the cane. That would have been a really big difference maker if that ended up being the cane.
Yeah, I was thinking cane. Like, I was really wondering if it was there or if it was in Blue Brinstar, or I just knew that like I really wanted to go in the swamp so badly because they're just. I don't remember there being anything very good behind Mirror. I don't remember there being anything good behind Flippers. But then, after none of those turned up anything, I figured, it's probably just hookshot, and I probably don't need it. And it's not even guaranteed to be hookshot, so whatever. I am actually kind of surprised that he didn't forfeit, considering I think how much game he has left to do.
Yeah, you guys were not that far apart for a while. Really, just the fact that those two items were progressive, the fact that the hammer that he missed led directly to the bow. So that, of course, as soon as he got his hammer, he's doing everything he can.
That check's isolated now too, so
yeah.
Blueprint did have 2 power bombs though. That would have been nice to have early on.
I had 2 what?
There, though. 2
power bomb packs at the morph pedestal, and then the missiles below Billy Mays by the ceiling E tank.
Oh wow!
What?
So like
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that like it would have been nice to run into this, but like I could not go there. The current power bomb count that I had at any point, really, like at any time I was near there. I was gonna even loop through there, going down Red Tower after Rex ship, and I was like, I still can't do this. I still don't have enough power bombs to clear everything.
Yeah, Dragondarch was in the same boat. He farmed up a little bit to go there from like Big Pink. He made sure he had a full 5, and then of course got bailed out by 5 more on Morph Pedestal as soon as we were saying, he couldn't check Billy Mays. Like, well, I guess he can now.
And then DD just picked up his bow, so he's go minus hookshot. I don't know if he can hover or not. Do you know, Asher?
I sincerely doubt it. But like I think if he wanted to learn the hover, he'd be capable of it. But like he's just known for a lot of other different games and not really for this. So like in general, he's been doing really well. Just not having a background in running these games, but just knowing a good way to approach it.
Yeah, he's definitely put up a good show in this tournament. So, what made you go to green and pink Bryn first instead of red tower with only 5 power bombs?
I forget. Did I have? Oh, instead of red tower, just item density, and I have a pretty good backup plan if I run out of power bombs. I'm not too worried about it, and I have plans of like what it would take for me to route it back in.
So, like, do something like later if you have more power-ups, like go down blue Bryn and then do anything you missed in big pink and then go down to like up red tower or something.
Yeah, like sticking it in with the blue Bryn red tower loop is a good option. I like to do that loop as like kind of my second loop through that area, but I like the item density to start off with. That's unless I have like some better stuff already, and I feel like skipping Brinstar might be a thing I could actually do, then I usually go that way. Because like we didn't really have much of anything. Morph was pretty early.
Yeah, the start of the seed just gave you Morph and Pearl, and that's pretty much it. One PB pack.
Yeah, and like trash items help a lot more near the start of the seed.
So how do you feel as for your upcoming match, since you're when are you gonna be going on to face Pizza 34? Any thoughts on that?
I feel better about it. I think I played this seed really well. There's a lot of seeds and weeklies that I feel like I haven't played well, or I've gotten unlucky, and I felt like I had some reason to worry. But I feel pretty good about that matchup. I think there's been a lot of upsets on my side of the bracket, so I think like specific weaknesses that I have against some of the people in there, I don't think I have really like specific weaknesses in this matchup. But I'm still like always kind of trying to play a seed well enough to be able to hold up in the finals. So
Yeah, very good. That's for sure. Like everyone at this point has earned their spot at this point in the tournament. Definitely gonna be solid matches. There have been solid matches pretty much the whole time, and they're gonna just continue to get closer.
it's pretty hard to call some of these, but like in this matchup, like from what I've seen of Dragondarch's matches, I feel like a lot of his opponents that you'd think would be favored to win based on experience, a lot of them have lost based on like big mistakes or getting really unlucky with like maybe one mistake that isn't usually very punishing. And he's just good enough that it might not be enough to recover against that, so I was really trying to not make a big mistake. And there are some things about my routing, like, I figured people were going to think that the timing, the timing and, like, how far in rec shift I was when I chose to leave, I figured people would think that was really weird. But I had a plan behind it, and a lot of times what I might do in weeklies, if I have that sort of plan, is like, I might read too much into the item placements and be like, okay, well, it really wants me to go to Swamp. Like, I can really feel like the seed wants me to go to Swamp, because the mirrors turn up garbage, flippers that turn up garbage, and then I just get a hook shot that I don't really need. And like, it probably saves me time at the end, but then it probably leads me further down a chain that leads me away from some item that I skipped like way early into the seed. And I do a lot of stuff like that in weeklies, and I just knew if I did that here, I was pretty likely to lose a match over it. So I'm just trying not to do that. Oh yeah, I picked up X-Ray. So I saw X-Ray, and I like hadn't done like the mental calculation of like what items I had and what stuff I had left with it fast enough to like leave without getting it. So I just made a snap decision and I got it, and I realized right after that I didn't need it for anything.
Yeah, that was one thing we were wondering about. I thought maybe you were getting it like for stand-up safety or something.
Wait, what did you ask? I cut out on my end.
I said I wondered if you were getting it for stand-up safety or something.
Oh no, I don't usually mess up stand-up in that kind of way.
Yeah, it looks like at this point, Dragondarch is committed to do everything but those other pendant dungeons to try to find that hook shot. That's what it looks like.
Oh yeah, he's going back for Thieves on Big Chest.
Okay, well, thanks guys for commentating. I'm gonna hop out, probably relax and watch the rest of this, and I have a spoiler tournament race an hour after this.
And you did the weekly earlier today, didn't you?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was gonna do that or not, but I haven't done the seed in a while.
Well, GG's again on the race, and good luck on your other races, and especially going forward in this tournament. Look forward to seeing that next matchup for sure.
Yeah.
Congrats on making top 4.
I actually did it this time. Oh, this gate. I don't know. This rando is kind of prone to messes, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, you've at least lived up to your seed number, right? Aren't you like 3rd seed or 2nd seed?
I think he's second.
I'm second.
Okay.
Yeah, these tournaments pretty much never go the way you'd expect.
I know who I picked to win's already out on my prediction bracket. But that certainly happens if you forget to talk to an NPC.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes. Alright, well, Azder, good luck in your next race. And if you all want to be sure to see more of him, make sure to follow the runners.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we mentioned, Dragondarch runs a lot of other games, kind of a jack of all trades, not just focused on these. Azder does a lot of cool things as well, with Super Metroid, Link to the Past, randomizers and otherwise. Shoutouts as well to our tracker, SayRyuX, who I think is well known for yelling at people not to follow him because he doesn't stream, but does a fantastic job tracking and has been a big help.
Well, clearly he should start streaming then.
Yeah, and of course, Hitaka as well, another fantastic player, both these games individually and SMZ3 combos.
Yes, when I don't do incredibly stupid things. It looks like he's going back for Waterway.
Yeah, I think Waterway's the only thing we've gotten left. At the very least, it's nice getting to see all the checks. I think the only thing that was really a unique item we saw was during the interview we noticed we picked up the sword, the fourth sword, and Bombos at Paradox Cave, as well as Spring Ball was in Tower of Hera in the basement.
Yep, the luxury item Spring Ball. I wonder if he's just like hard committed to not doing pendant dungeons until he has to, or if he thinks that since Azder finished so quickly that it's probably in the hammer spot that he left behind, and he doesn't know that Azder hovered.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Sometimes you try to like metagame based on your opponent's time in situations like this, and it's not always reliable. Sometimes you can sort of do that, but sometimes you can't.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to do. It's easier, I think, to metagame when you have, especially earlier in the tournament, when there were more runners that were lopsided. When you had a lot of runners that were fantastic at one game and pretty good at the other one, good enough to be able to still be competitive. But at this point, I think everyone's too good at both games to be able to do that. You could maybe use that information to lean in, oh, well, maybe, he's so good at Link to the Past, he maybe did a pendant dungeon over full clearing Meridia.
Plus, that kind of thing is more helpful in like weeklies and group races where you can gain a place or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ruining the stream experience. SMH.
There's still at least one mystery. Well, not only what else are we going to find anywhere else, but how long is it going to be till he actually gets to that? Is it going to be last location? Because I imagine it would be.
Yeah, Hookless Swamp is not really something you want to do.
Yeah, I think personally, like, if I was in this position, I think that Ice Palace makes a lot more sense. Maybe the front of Swamp before doing these other checks, since you don't have to full clear Swamp. That's not so bad to have to do the front.
And Ice Palace is kind of a weird case because depending on the key layout, some items may be logically behind Hookshot or they may not. It depends.
Right. Yeah, at this point, it looks like Dragondarch committing to the Ganon's tower play, which logically could have had the hook shot. We know that's a thing. Probably wanted to do as much as he could of the one-offs before committing to this. Yeah, we'll see too whether or not it might just be obviously there might be some people wondering, you know, why is Dragondarch just not forfeit? Obviously he's lost. One, he might just like to finish up the seed because he's having fun playing the game, but also, at least in my particular experience, he might just want to know where everything is first. Sometimes we'll see runners get to that point, even if they've lost, they still want to at least find everything and then say, okay, now that I found it, I solved the puzzle. I'm not going through the motions to finish it. So we'll see if he opts to continue on or just go until he finds that hook shot.
Yeah, once you hit go mode, the rest is just execution, so it's just the same old, same old.
Yeah, I believe he checked Hookshot Cave, at least the one that you can bonk to, the first chest. Obviously, there'd be no reason, even if, you know, if he could hover, like maybe in that gray area of maybe if Dragondarch could hover, but very poorly, you know, inconsistently, you might want to try it, but like, there's no reason to hover looking for the hookshot.
Indeed.
Interesting that Dragondarch doing the same routing of GT, going to that firebar room. You definitely can make it to the following chest in the fire snake room with a bomb jump.
Yeah, you can full clear the first floor GT with just bomb jumps and blocks. None of the bomb jumps are particularly hard either.
Yeah, there's really the only tough bomb jump over there is one that you can circumvent with a bonk on the left side. Well, there might be an easier way than the way I set it up, but there's one that's a little bit picky if you don't have boots to bonk.
I like the tile room play here.
Yeah, I think it has to be a small key. Right, yeah. Because we used the one key we got on the torch in the firebar room, which was logically available, because you can get to there by bonking. And if Dragondarch had opened the middle door connecting the right and left sides here, he'd be out of keys. So there'd be no way to logically get here without the hook shot. If the hook shot was here, which he's thinking is still a possibility. Even without that, it's still very likely to be a small key based on the key layout that we've seen.
And then this big key's kind of rude, because then that opens the possibility that it could be in the upper floors.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't go all the way to Ice Armos, though.
Yeah, he's gonna bonk here. I've done that myself a few times. You have to walk pretty far down the stairs.
That's not how you're supposed to climb Tower of Hera.
It's also weird that they don't align quite right. The Tower of Hera is a little bit to the left.
Yeah, that always bugged me that the stairs are like a half tile off.
Yeah, there's quite a few places like that in the overworld. It's very inconsistent and very unusual how that's designed to be that way. But really interesting that he did not continue up looking for that hook shot or continue through to Ice Armos. I have to suspect that this decision, like you mentioned, some of it's got to be meta. Obviously, he knows that Azure finished quite some time ago. That's probably influencing his decision not to climb and hope for the hook shot or continue through Ganon's tower looking for it. Yeah, it's true. We did never find the book. Are there any other unique items that we haven't found?
I don't think so. Bugnet? I don't think we found Bugnet.
Okay.
Morph bombs were in Shaft Supers. DD didn't pick them up, but he did check those.
Right. I saw 3 items missing from his menu. So book, bugnet, and hookshot. Yeah, those would be the 3. There were 3 empty spots. The 4th sword was right next to the Bombos medallion in Paradox Cave. Yeah, Dragondarch did a really nice icebreaker. It does make it hard to follow the key logic in this dungeon.
Yeah, Esther, I kept waiting for you to go to East Death Mountain because it was so dense and you just never did.
Yeah, I mean, there were, what, 8 checks, or 9 at Light World, and then 6 in Dark World, Death Mountain. 15 total checks. And I'm guessing that was the 3rd item. And there's a small key on Cold Stare. Either that or Dragondarch was following the key logic better than I and knows that that's a hookshot lock dungeon, potentially. Alright, it was 3 items. Okay, so that must have been the other small key since you had map compass and big key. Yeah, this, I believe, is a hard last location. Absolutely nothing left.
Other than Deeper in GT, yeah, I think it is.
Other than Deeper GT and... Yeah, we saw Shack Tool, we saw Plasma. Yeah, this would be it. Which is really still not a bad time. I mean, about 3 hours to full clear the entirety of both games. Obviously, some inefficiency with not having that hammer for a while, and a lot of one-offs to clean up. Takes up a lot of that time.
Yeah, his routing didn't work out, but his execution was pretty good.
It's a bit surprising too, noticing how few hearts the Dragondarch has. I really wasn't keeping track of what azder had. There was never really a lot of danger, apart from that beginning of the Ganon's Tower climb where he took the safety fairies, but...
He had about 10, I think.
Yeah, for how much has been cleared, that's a surprisingly low number. Confirming he had 11 hearts. Okay.
We have not seen Bugnet yet.
Yeah, Bugnet and Book's all that's left. And yeah, Silverbane, that's correct. Hookshot's been the only item outstanding for Dragondarch for quite a while now. Azure was able to hover and skip that logically required item. Left side's so slow, especially when you can't even steal that key. When you don't have the hookshot to steal the key to go through here.
Yeah, the intended left side swamp is it's pretty slow. You can't steal the key, you can't like flood the key and dive her down, you can't do any of that stuff. Just gotta walk around several times.
Yeah, this is a pretty big reason why the all dungeons RMG category is better than NMG. So you get to skip all this. You get to do the fun parts of Swamp, which are not the left side.
There's fun parts in Swamp.
Yeah. The diver down, the part's fun. That really that dash in the first room, if you can get it through all three of the water striders, that's pretty fun. When it works.
And the other bad part of no hookshot left side, you have to climb the stairs twice.
Yeah, that's the vanilla big key location.
Yeah, let's all pretend to be surprised when he opens the big chest.
I mean, even if it wasn't spoiled in chat, this is literally the last thing possible that we could check. If it hadn't been spoiled, we might think this is the book.
Oh my god, vanilla hookshot!
Wow, there it is. Yeah, that's certainly a terrible location.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna finish the seed out.
Yeah, that's certainly understandable. You've already put in this much time. You want to finish what you started. I'm definitely a proponent myself of not forfeiting, and unless anything comes up, I can see both sides of it, but I like to finish them. I usually have fun with the seeds, even if they're bad ones like this one, or you just get really messed up by, you know, one or two checks. Like that hammer was the big one that added a huge amount of time, and then the hook shot on top of it. Really, those two checks accounted for most of the time difference.
In a Racing race like this, I might forfeit if like I'm almost done, but I want to like get in on the interview while my opponent's still there too.
Right. Well, the good news here is Dragondarch did already find the big key. Can just go straight up the tower.
So if you put in a big key guess of 0, you are correct.
He should have no difficulty climbing the tower. He got those silver arrows that Azder opted to skip out on at the gauntlet. He's got the extra sword upgrade, which doesn't really make a difference. He does have the mail upgrade too to make it even a little bit more safe, but even that's not that big of a difference since a lot of the spikes and things still do a full heart of damage.
He has all the luxuries.
Yeah.
I think he still has a good potion too.
Choosing to use Ether in the gauntlet rooms. This might just be that he wants to finish up the race. Doesn't really want to think about too many strats. Kind of take a nice coast downhill, so to speak. Ether, apparently I learned the other day, very recently, that it's the fastest animation of the 3 from the medallions.
Yeah, Bombos is a really slow one because you have to wait for like 2 sets of explosions.
Yeah, and then some enemies have burn animations on top of that as well. The only issue with this one is that some enemies don't die, like the Zaziks freeze instead of dying, and so you still have to finish them off. It's sometimes very hard to keep track of which things do what to the enemies. I think Quake turns some enemies into those little hopping jelly guys.
Yeah.
Instead of killing them for whatever reason.
Some enemies freeze and some enemies don't. And I think some enemies actually freeze in the Japanese version and die in the English version, or vice versa. So it might be different from what you were used to, like, growing up as a kid or whatever, if you played this in English first.
Very interesting. I didn't know that. It's been so long since I've played my English cartridge, since I don't have a... I don't know when to play randomizers on it.
I think Gibdos are one. I remember being surprised when, like, I ethered Gibdos and Skullwoods and they just died instead of freezing. Because as a kid, I would do that and then hammer them for magic refills.
One last logical potential pitfall there. Dragondarch does remember with his key count that he only has 1 key, especially leaving and coming back in the dungeon. That'd be an easy one to forget. Make a mistake thinking, okay, I already found the big key, I'm in go mode. Just gonna come back and climb. But pretty heads up play to know that he needs that second key from the mini helm sword. Showing off how easy this room is if you just kill the Moldorm and hookshot to the chest.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. And opening the chest doesn't make the Moldorm stay dead, but it does leave the chest there if, for whatever reason, you have to do that room again. Which I guess could happen at like entrance or key sanity or something.
And probably would be more liable to happen Randomizer where the damages are shuffled in case Aga 2 does a substantial amount of damage and you die in this fight.
Or in crowd control if you get killed by the crowd in Aga 2.
That too, and that was a really nice Aga fight. It was just a 3-cycle. Very well done. They're always happy with a 3-cycle, especially since you can get blue balls and not even be able to finish it in 2. I think you got a blue ball on the second one.
Ganon giving us some entomology facts. Yeah, I forgot to put on his cleats in DD's game.
And while Buttersword, like I said, doesn't really make this faster, it does make it a lot easier. Ooh, that's it. Oh, okay. That was like the perfect setup for that torch glitch. If he would have just slashed to the right, he could have got a nice potential triple arrow shot in.
Yeah. Well, it makes it worth it anyway.
Yeah, it was a really good spot to freeze him in. Sometimes the torch glitch can end up freezing Ganon in an awkward place where you have difficulty getting in a double or triple shot. But yeah, it still does clean up very nicely. Good double to finish it off. Quick save and quit reset to the ship, and Dragondarch just has to finish off Mother Brain and Tourian to be done with his seed forever. So this is something I've noticed, but never asked. Does opening that door on the left reduce lag or something, Hitaka? Before entering the door to Tourian?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever really seen people do that much.
Okay, because it looks like Dragondarch went out of his way to open the door on the left, and I feel like I've seen that before, but never considered doing it myself, or didn't know if it did anything.
And welcome to everyone from SpeedGaming 2.
So the story, there's a couple things that set Dragondarch behind quite a bit. The first one being the hammer at Crocomire, that then led to Bow at Hammerpegs. Azure grabbed the hammer early, Dragondarch did not, so it kind of led him to isolate that bow. In addition, Hookshot was Vanilla Big Chest and Pendant Swamp, which Azure was able to go around by hovering, skip out on all those pendant dungeons. So Dragondarch 100% full cleared everything except for some chests in Ganon's tower. Very carefully making sure not to damage down too far. Although he does have the reserve tank, so he would have been okay to take another hit.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna set up for stand-up, taking that berry suit off and leaving it off. So, not only did he have a faster Mulroom 2 than Astra, he's also probably going to have a faster escape.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I wasn't looking at the time when Azure finished left on the escape timer, but it certainly couldn't have been quite a lot. Maybe a minute and a half. Nice, easy Mother Brain 1. And Dragondarch will have, is it 10 less shots? 10 less charge shots for Mother Brain 2?
Really letting Mother Brain 1 have it.
And you might as well, right? You got all those missiles. You gotta spend them somewhere. That looked absolutely calculated. Last missile into Mother Brain just in time for him to jump up and get hit by the rainbow beam. At least we're getting to see one stand-up glitch, which is always nice. And we're doing a good job getting some damage in here to make the third phase of the fight shorter. He does this really well. He'll make sure not to miss a single one of these onion rings. They'll all connect with the baby. So you won't waste any time here. There's a few other more minor manipulations you can do as well.
It's a very nice stand-up. Just one shot to finish her off.
Yeah, very well done. Not sure if we'll see the animals get saved here. There's potential for that. Guess I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that with Dragondarch having been to pretty much every single other location in the game.
Looks like he's going for it. Or at least the taunt.
There it is.
Setting up for the Shy Spark. Oh, he missed it. Suboptimal animals.
There we have it. Dragondarch does finish up. GG's for him sticking this one out and finding that hook shot in the absolute last location. Apart from the back of GT, of course. Official time is 3:24:37. Looks like Dragondarch has joined us in here for the interview. GG's, Dragondarch.
Thanks. that was me making all the wrong choices and realizing what the order was when I found that hammer.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, casually may have looked like the hook shot, but I feel like the hammer hurt you a lot more. I mean, since obviously the hammer led to the hook shot, the hammer led to the bow, and those were really in awful locations based on where you found the hammer to go back to.
Yeah, I was going to, like, the things that I was going to do and then just decided not to were both doing Norfair at all and then doing Croc when I was heading for lower Norfair. I'm like, I can go do Croc. No, never mind. Go do lower Norfair first. And then I just went and did. I'm like, well, now I can also go do Meridia. So, I put off the two things that, like, Norfair just had all the goods. So I know what the order would have needed to be.
Yeah, I actually was a little surprised you didn't do Croc on the way out of Lower Norfair, because I thought when you skipped, I was like, oh well, this is fine, like he can do Lower Norfair and then grab it on his way out and still get his hammer, and it'll still be a nice close race, and then you didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was going to, and I'm like, I've got gravity, I've got flippers, I can go clear, I can just backdoor Meridia, go clear that out, and then I can do Croc later if need be. And it was just wrong order percent, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was one of those seeds where SM opened up so much so early that it was almost too much stuff to check.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the big thing, Dragondarch, that you did early that Azure didn't was the full clear of wreck ship. He didn't have space jump, so he bailed on like the sky missiles and the bowling checks. So like you had the mushroom, and really there wasn't anything else there that was even potentially required. So that could have been interesting if there was something there that would have swung something in your favor for sure, but just did not pay out. That was just sunk time.
I mean, I knew my luck was going to run out at some point. I've been getting fairly lucky in these seeds up to this point. So between that, and I did a practice run before this that was like a 237. So it's like, well, I think my luck's gone. And I mean, I'm not disappointed with my performance in the tournament at all. Making top 8 just is way more than I expected to get. So I'm not disappointed at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've done a fantastic job to get to this point, but it's just at that point of the tournament where, like, some of these really fine skills, like Azure's ability to hover, and you, it looks like aren't comfortable with that or aren't familiar with it.
I've never been able to do it right. That's why I don't do it right now.
I mean, something like that at this level of execution, like that can make a difference, or and that could end up we might see that in another race, where one runner's able to do like a super tight short charge, another runner can't, maybe like a nice like stutter 3 to get something that's otherwise out of logic and breaks things open. It's that competitive at this point because you just got to the top of the tourney.
Yep. Like, I mean, I went into this match with not a lot of expectations. I know Azur's Azur's the number 2 seed for a reason, so I knew what I was up against.
Yeah, I mean your execution was solid though throughout, and like pretty much for the most part your routing made sense. I was gonna ask thing when you went to Lower Norfair, you skipped out on like desert and checking mire. Was that something that you'd thought about or considered doing at the time?
That was me telling myself, okay, we'll go, knock out GT, and then we can check, and then I can check at least Mire Shed, and then maybe pop into Mire, and maybe do Desert, what have you. And then I just walked by the door and completely forgot until I was on my escape from Lower Norfair. That was just literal short-term memory loss.
When you were fighting GT, why were you aiming diagonally?
So I don't have angle down on my controller at all because I play on original hardware and I like having run on R. So I can only aim straight up if I'm standing.
I thought you were standing.
No, I physically cannot. I physically, when I'm doing it with super missiles, I just stand and go diagonally, and I can get them in a 4 super missile loop per jump.
There was one other thing I was going to ask about too. I made a note of. So when you were, after you did like the bumper in Graveyard Ledge check, I saw you pop back into Skull Woods. Was that just to grab the magic?
Yes.
Okay. Did you forget that the stun prize was magic pots, or was that
I don't think I'd actually figured. I don't think I'd actually. If I'd seen what the stun prize was, I forgot about it by that point. But I don't remember if I'd seen it by that point.
Okay, yeah, that might have been something we saw on Azure side, I guess. Now that you mention it, I don't know. I know we had seen it. But
yeah, I think we saw it on Azure side.
I'm pretty sure you had a boomerang at that point and could have done that, but if you didn't know, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, anything in particular that you really liked about the seed, or you think did work out, or?
I mean, it felt like it was flowing decently for the most part. It was just it was just rando's gonna rando, basically. It was just I picked the wrong places to check. Like beyond that, it was I mean, if I done Croc earlier, and if I just gone to Norfair earlier, like I think the thing that really kind of put me out of it was that when I was doing my Brin loop, I'm like, okay, I don't have enough power bombs. I'm just gonna skip Blue Brin. And I got the idea at the last second. I'm like, I can just check the first 2 checks in Blue Brin and call it good. I can just go over to where vanilla morph is. And then I'll just come back and we'll go down to Norfair. And I got power bombs on the way through there. I'm like, well, okay, now I can finish up the Brin loop. And I think had there not been power bombs there, I would have gone to Norfair at that point. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, the Norfair. Because Azure did that really early, got a couple things out of logic. Like he had the flippers really early. The Speed Booster, that's the other one, yeah. So Speed Booster was there, so that put his mirror in logic earlier than you had. Obviously, you had the mirror pretty early as well, Dragondarch, since the early supers, but it wasn't in logic for a while.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts?
Not really. I'm just. I mean, I was all like, he finished at 222, and I was honestly contemplating just like, well, I've already lost. Maybe I'll just do a few more checks, see if I can get into go mode, and if not, I'll just forfeit. And I got to thinking, it's like, you know, this is probably gonna be the last seed I do for a while. I'll just finish it. Might as well. And then it turned into that with a near hundo. But I mean, like I said, I'm not disappointed with my performance overall in the tournament. I'm beyond ecstatic that I made it even this far. So I'm happy that I'm happy I made it as far as I did, and now it's time to focus on other things, I guess.
Top 8's definitely a very good showing, so congrats for making it that far.
Yeah, for sure.
So next for you, are you doing the 4-job Fiesta opening speedrun?
Yes, I will be doing that.
Okay, so if you want to see more of Dragondarch, and if you like Final Fantasy V, be sure to check that out.
When is this event?
It'll be next Sunday. Let me make sure. Yes, it'll be the 14th.
Right on. Sounds cool.
So I think that's about all. Coming up in about half an hour, there is a Link to the Past spoiler log tournament match on this channel.
Yeah, spoiler log race is Julo Ninja versus azder, so if you want to see more of him. Slightly different event. You can tune into that. We do have the only other SMZ3 tourney match on the schedule is Alucard 2004 versus Aussie 101 is on Tuesday at 6:10. That's the last of our top 8 matches. So we'll get that in the books and see who our final 4 are. So be sure not to miss that. But yeah, otherwise, this was a great match to commentate. Definitely a very interesting one. I really enjoyed working with you, Hitaka. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, same. And shoutouts to Sarah, your tracker.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we'll leave it at that. Thank you all for watching. Everybody have a fantastic evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Take care.
Yep, good night.